What is that noise in the background, Terry? It sounds like a bomb in a cartoon ticking down.
You pushed the wrong button.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, he turned off the radio.
Okay.
What is that noise in the background, Terry? It sounds like a bomb in a cartoon ticking down. Can you hear that?
Terry's got his headphones in.
All right, folks, I think we're in business here. Looks like we've got Life Size connected, Zoom connected. Everything's recording and streaming as of about 2 minutes ago. So I think we're all set to proceed.
Terry's got his headphones in.
All right, I'm going to call to order the Borough of Morrisville, July 19, 2021 Borough Council meeting. Please rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Looks like we've got Life Size connected, Zoom connected. Everything's recording and streaming as of about 2 minutes ago. So I think we're all set to proceed.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. All right, I'm going to call to order the Borough of Morrisville, one nation, under God, July 19, 2021 Borough Council meeting. Please rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Mayor Ravella? Councilman Bowers?
Here.
Councilwoman Halaho? Here. Councilman Nickel?
Here.
Councilman Parker?
Here.
Councilman Paul?
Here.
Councilman Robinson?
Here.
Roll call,
Councilwoman
please.
Sherlock? Here. Mayor Ravella? And Councilman Yeager?
Here.
Councilman Bowers?
Scott Holbert on behalf of Playground Associates.
Councilwoman Halaho? Here.
Thank you.
Councilman Nickel?
All right, under announcements, I'm going to announce that we had an executive session at
Councilman Parker?
6:45 just before the meeting
Councilman
for
Paul?
personnel issues for 2 police officers.
Councilman Robinson?
As a result of that executive
Here.
session, there will be 2 motions added to the
Councilwoman
end of the
Sherlock?
agenda, and I'm going to read them
And Councilman Yeager?
here. Motion 9I,
Scott
will
Holbert on behalf
be a
of Playground
motion to
Associates.
approve the grievance settlement. Thank you. The grievance settlement agreement. Announce that we had an executive session and the PBA just before the meeting. 9J will be a motion to approve an independent medical examination for an injured police officer. As a result of that executive session, there will be 2 motions added to the end of the agenda, and I'm going to read them. Motion 9I will be a motion to approve the grievance settlement. The grievance settlement agreement
State your name and
between the
address,
borough
please.
and the
Yes,
PBA.
Donald Rice, 343
9J will be a
Crown
motion
Street,
to approve
Morrisville.
an independent medical examination for an
I
injured
started
police
working
officer.
to save Williamson Park soon after Mr.
And
McGrath's
with that, I will
presentation
open
in
it up to
August of
public comment.
2019. At that time, I was not aware of
believe
the
it's Don
Donated
Rice.
and Dedicated
Yeah, Don
Properties
Rice.
Act. I only became aware of it in the last several months. I expect the same is true for council members.
State your name and address,
A
please.
June 2021 publication of We Concern PA, which was formerly the Pennsylvania Land Trust Association. I started working to save Williamson Park soon after Mr. McGrath's presentation in August of 2019. And its relevance to preserving Pennsylvania's I was not aware of the Donated and Dedicated Properties relevant excerpts from the publication in the last several months. The Donated and Dedicated Property Act provides that the donated or dedicated property 2021 publication of We Can Serve PA must stay in trust the original use land continue unless the use is, quote, parks in perpetuity no longer practicable or possible and its relevance ceases to serve the public interest. I will present a few relevant and likely event that the court agrees that park use is no longer acceptable. Donated and Dedicated Property Act provides that the donated or dedicated property, such as Williamson Park, the municipality will still be required to replace the land's original use must continue trust. unless the use of equal size and no longer practicable or possible and has ceased to serve the public interest. The Pennsylvania Constitution, too, places a fiduciary duty on Commonwealth to conserve and maintain Pennsylvania's practical or possible resources and has ceased to serve the public interest. This obligation applies both to state government, place the land, and local government, leaving the public trust. Public lands are owned by the people and not governed for the same purpose. Government's role is to conserve and maintain the land. The Pennsylvania Constitution places a fiduciary duty on the Commonwealth to conserve and maintain Pennsylvania's donated and dedicated natural resources for the people. To withdraw from consideration of select Morrisville's development proposal and local governments. The public lands are owned by the people, not government. Please be fair to the citizens of Morrisville, serve and maintain the land. And Williamson Park, and stop the consideration of development.
1 minute.
That we are aware of the requirements of the Donated and Dedicated Property Act. Thank you. To withdraw from consideration of select Morrisville's development proposal for Williamson Park.
All right,
The park
Bill
cannot
Minder.
be developed. Please be fair to the citizens of Morrisville.
Bill
Select
Minder,
Morrisville,
423
and
Crown
Williamson
Street.
Park.
Good
Stop
evening,
the
and hope you all had a
consideration of
nice
park
holiday.
development.
1 minute.
It's nice to see
It
you
is the
smiling
right
faces
thing to
again,
do.
in person.
A park is
In person.
forever. Thank you.
I have 2 items I'd like to present. I'm here to request the council consider enacting a curfew
All right, Bill
for
Minder.
fireworks at about 10 p.m.
Bill
There's
Minder,
no good
423
reason
Crown
to set
Street.
off fireworks 11,
Good evening,
12,
and
or
hope
even
you all
1
had a
o'clock in
nice
the morning.
holiday.
These people have no consideration for anyone, particularly one, our vets. I have 2 items I'd like who live through hell and are affected by loud noises council and consider enacting a PTSD for fireworks. What about our children? About 10 p.m. There's no good reason to set off fireworks 11, 12, or even 1 o'clock in the fireworks. These people have no consideration for anyone, fireworks, particularly one. He holds his ears, he cries through hell, and he rolls on his bed. And if you think this condition eases with time, don't believe it. What about our children? My grandson is 30 years old and still affected by it. Autism, and are affected by one full seniors such as fireworks. At 9 or 10 o'clock, was affected by this really affects their living conditions. He holds his ears. He'll be old someday, sooner or later. He rolls on his bed. Time flies by. If you think this condition eases with time, don't believe it. My grandson is 30 years old, shiver and shake, still affected by fireworks. It's very upsetting to see how these good are affected at 9 or 10 o'clock. This really affects their living conditions. And that, you'll be old someday, sooner or later, trying to enact a curfew. The vets, children, senior citizen animals. My second item, high and shiver and shake. When will a sidewalk in Pennsylvania Avenue be repaired? It's very upsetting to see. This is a terrible sight for Mercer coming into Morrisville. It's been there so long that the people of Marshall thinks it's a monument to someone or somebody. We're good reason to enact the curfew.
I'm sorry, what sidewalk are you talking about?
Senior citizen animals.
What sidewalk?
My Pennsylvania Avenue, right over the canal. When will a sidewalk in Pennsylvania Avenue be repaired? This is a terrible sight.
I'm sorry, what is wrong with it?
Well, just take a ride up and look at it.
I'd walk by there all the time.
Thinks it's a monument to someone or somebody.
Pennsylvania.
Know that there's
I'm sorry, the one over by Union Street. I was thinking the bridges, I'm sorry, my mistake.
Pennsylvania, right over the canal.
Yes,
Right across from the bridge.
we were just talking about it, actually. I'm sorry, what is wrong with it?
Well, just take a ride up and look at it.
I'd walk by there all the
Can I
time.
chime in real quick? Mr. Minder,
Pennsylvania.
that bridge is slated to be
Oh,
replaced
the one
within
over
the
by
next
Union
couple
Street.
years.
I
The state
was
is
thinking
doing
the
it.
bridges,
That's
I'm
why it's
sorry, my
closed. It's that
mistake.
whole thing is going to be rebuilt.
Yes,
Right across from the bridge. That's
we
a
were
couple of
just
years.
talking about it, actually.
I don't think I'll be here to see
Yeah.
that. Have a good evening.
I got a letter in the mail. Can I chime in real quick? Mr. Minder, that bridge is slated to be replaced within the next couple years. The state is doing it. That's why I would love that whole thing is going to be redo that sidewalk, but
that's
the
a couple
cost
of years.
to redo
I don't
that
think I'll
sidewalk
be here to see that.
only to have it torn up in a year or two when they replace the bridge. I got a letter in the mail from the state, and the one across the street on the western side of Pennsylvania Avenue. I walked down that notification that work. I mean, that's still a serviceable sidewalk. I mean, I would love to to redo that sidewalk.
Yeah, but who tore it up and put all the cones
that
around
sidewalk
it?
right now.
Well,
that was torn up. That's because it's not safe to walk on because you could fall into the canal. And the one across the street on the western side, that's why they shut it down. Avenue. I walked down that, and then the bridge is going to be a serviceable sidewalk. They're replacing that whole bridge, but the state is doing it, and it's not like we can't go to the state right now and say, hey, we need to replace this bridge tomorrow. Well, that's when they get around to replacing it, it's safe to walk on because you could fall into the canal maybe. It's scheduled to be rebuilt. That's why they shut it down for safety.
I think I'm not going to blame you or anybody, but whoever condemned the bridge or whatever they did to put those cones up should have some sense to say when we're going to put it back up. I mean, you can't take something down and
when they get around
4 or 5 years later put it up. I mean, it's been how much, 2 years like that? Well, I think I'm not going to blame you or anybody, but whoever condemned the bridge or whatever they did to put those cones up should have had some sense to say when we're going to put it back up. I mean, you can't take something down 4 or 5 years later.
Robinson, you said you got the letter from PennDOT, just so I'm clear?
It's been how much, 2 years like that?
Yes, I got a letter. I don't know if it was from PennDOT. It was from the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And it was one of those ones that I guess a form letter that they mail out to all the people that live close to where they're going to do a project, just notifying that the.
Hey, Mr. Robinson, you said you got the letter from PennDOT.
I believe it said they're going to start late 2021 or early 2022. And they were basically it was from the state of Pennsylvania, and it was one of those ones that I guess a form letter that they mail out to. I don't know whether they have to notify me close to where they're going to do a project, just to let me know that and I'm sure that everyone else that lives in that area. I believe it said early they're going to start late 2021 or early 2022. And they were basically just.
Yeah, I think I received one as well. I think they also had mentioned they needed to intrude on some of the property on one side of it.
I believe that they also included minutes, if I and I'm sure that everyone else that lives in that area received the letter too.
I just don't believe it was in.
All right, thank you, Councilman.
I received one.
Next, we have Deborah Colgan.
I received one as well. They also had mentioned they needed to intrude on some of the property.
Good evening, Deborah Colgan, 120 West Hendrickson Avenue.
If I remember
As
correctly.
we passively wait for Select Morrisville to present the next step, we should be having, as a community, a frank discussion on the ethics and legalities of developing Williamson Park as a commercial space. Creating a legacy for public space. Hi, good evening, Deborah Colgan, 120 West Hendrickson Avenue. One that is hoped that future generations will respect and treasure the next step. When accepted, we should be having, lives on without betrayal, a frank discussion on the value and legalities of developing. We can measure in dollars commercial space. Then we can creating a legacy for public space. Land value is an act that requires what the heirs and the church lease will need to be repaid. Future generations will respect and treasure. That when accepted, what are the costs on without betrayal? To defend a taking of an what is the value of Williamson Park land? We can measure in dollars. But more important to consider is what is the value of Williamson Park to Mars? Then we can add in what the heirs and the church promises made 86 years ago mean something to us now. This action be what are the intangible, what are the benefits that the park provides? A taking of an isn't there value in exposing children to a variety of activities? To consider a child playing what is the value of Williamson Park gets to see tennis? A baseball player gets to watch 86 years maybe ago, they can something make new friends and expand their world. What are the intangible, unmeasurable benefits that the park cannot be measured by the number of visitors alone? In exposing children to a variety of activities, people engaged in activities. Other times when there are few visitors, it's a baseball player gets to watch who can see magnificent, maybe they can make new friends and expand their world. Picnic. It provides value of Williamson Park cannot be measured by the number of visitors. The park works for us even when we are not there. It absorbs stormwater, engaged protects nearby properties. Other times when there are few impurities, which helps protect the near space where you can see Atlantic sturgeon, which is spawn right there, or quietly picnic. It contributes positively to climate change solutions. It's a dark works for us even when we are not there. Rest on their long migrations. Protecting nearby properties, property filters out impurities, which helps protect the near extinct Marsville taxpayers have consistently and overwhelmingly supported positively initiatives. Climate change we've also supported farm preservation programs. Even though we're navigating rest on their long migration, we understand parks they are good to have. They have value to us and lower crime rates. All understand the true value of taxpayers and as we do, will understand the true cost of this project. Space initiative. Reject this disastrous idea now. Farm preservation programs, even though we're not farmers. We know, we understand why they're good to
All right, next we
have.
have Joshua
They have
Kuntz.
value to us. Let's all
Kuntz,
understand the
Kuntz,
true
I'm
value
sorry.
of Williamson Park. And as we do, we'll understand the true cost of this project. Reject this disastrous idea now. Thank you.
Name and address in 3 minutes.
I'm Joshua Kuntz. I live at 40 Union
All right,
Street.
next
right
we
over
have
there.
Joshua Kuntz.
And I figured today I would, I
Kuntz,
read
I'm sorry.
poetry. I'm so sorry to everybody in the world that I'm a person who writes poetry. But I happen to write one. I was like, just kind of a little bit in theme and spirit, relevant
name and
to other
address in 3
topics I've
minutes.
discussed. I'm going to be surprised, hopefully, if I get to do that. I live at another 40 Union Street, like right over there. And I'm going to read everybody. I figured today I would, I read poetry. I'm so sorry to everybody in the world that I'm a person who writes poetry. I was a fast learner. I happen to write one. I was like 5. Kind of a little bit someday my grandpa would likely die before me. I was right. That day would come, another small and I can no longer call him. So, now to be fair, we did not have much to bond over. It's called an old mechanic and a tech addict youth. I apparently don't have much topics to talk about. I knew someday my grandpa would likely die before how to skip stones. I was right. Creek, and he'd point to lands and I can no longer and tell me what once was. Now to be fair, I didn't know why he did that last part. An old mechanic and a tech addict needed to know what apparently don't have much topics to talk on. But now I see. But he was pointing to his memory, his world, his fleeting spirit and time. And he'd point to lands in vast towns and tell me what once was. He wanted me to know what doesn't. I didn't know why he did that last part. In my mind, I simply needed to know what is, and so neither would he. But now I see. I knew one day he was pointing to his memory of my grandpa. I did not know I would have to grieve and though humans are meant to come and go, he wanted me to know so what that might be a nice what we can always share in tandem with some of the things. For it goes nowhere, and so neither would he. Emotional burden. I knew one day I would have to grieve the death of my grandpa. Pushing forward and I did not know I would have to grieve the death has upon our ability to relate intergenerational in tandem with some things we are creatures of our environment. And we learn and relate through these ideas of ancestry and our connection to the land as kind of possibly stereotypical or has upon our ability to relate intergenerationally. The other weird topic is I was just kind of curious if anybody's been hearing all that really loud music coming over from Trenton, and we're doing anything about that? To like, the land, I can be over here and walk to the canal, and through this entire area, you can hear music that's so loud that's rattling my windows in the house. Finish up, and I just wanted to know if anybody else is experiencing this. The other weird topic is I was kind of curious if anybody's been hearing all that really loud music coming over from or if anybody is doing anything. And also a small like I can be over here and walk to the canal. I was wondering if we had this entire area hear music that's so whenever purchases are made, kind of rattling my windows in the designate overtly and know if anybody else where legal areas are hallucinating and should have fireworks looking into that before bringing it to a council meeting, sometimes or if anybody is doing anything pressure on local purchasers to and also a small find their way to the appropriate areas. I was wondering if we have asked them to there is saying that there is actual whenever purchases are made land places where people can use fireworks. I just thought that might be a nice where legal areas are for into the minds of fireworks to be launched. Anyway, thank you very much. There sometimes launched in other areas, and this might put pressure on local purchasers to find their way to the appropriate areas.
I'm not sure what's. I don't believe it's coming from.
Saying that there is actual appropriate land places where people can use fireworks.
Either.
I just thought that might be a nice
one Friday I was
way of trying to push that into the
area, and I was going on 29, and I actually saw it set up by the waterfront on Newark.
I received a number of calls about the music. I'm not sure I don't believe it's coming from
DJ event, and they had speakers and rather large speakers out of the back of their SUV and stuff like that. One Friday I was leaving vacation.
Are they on the grassy area between 29 and the river
on 29,
itself,
and I actually saw it set up by the waterfront on Newark. I mean, I'm in Trenton.
I mean, we have this problem with Kathmandu years ago.
We even talked about putting speakers. They had speakers
on a barge in the middle of the river
out of the back of their
to send the music
SUV
backwards
and stuff like that. So that would be the location.
Are they on the grassy area between 29 and the river itself, right?
Yeah.
No idea. We had this problem with Kathmandu years ago. We even talked about putting
this one was just like it was
on a barge in the middle of the river
Street Bridge and
to send the music backwards.
Trenton Makes Bridge. There's a grassy area on the other side of the guardrail that they're able to go down with a vehicle and get access to the grassy area by the river, and that's where they were set up. So I imagine if you're hearing it that loud over here, this one was just like it was between the Calhoun Street Bridge and the Trenton Makes Bridge. There's a grassy area on the other side of the guardrail that they're able to go down with a vehicle and get access to the grassy area by the river, and that's where they were set up. So I imagine if you're hearing it that loud over here,
have you talked to the people at Duck Island?
Yeah. Duck Island's a community.
Well, what you said, like, it's coming.
It's a pop-up thing.
It's a pop-up thing.
If they were to call the non-emergency number, would the department be able to reach out to the state police, since that would be...
Kathmandu, have you talked to the people at Duck Island?
I totally agree with you.
What you said, like, it's coming...
It's a pop-up thing.
It's a pop-up thing.
If they were to call the non-emergency number, would the department be able to reach out to the state police, since that would be... No, I totally agree with you. I think the problem is getting another municipality in a different state to do something for us. We can try to reach out to the mayor of Trenton. I mean, that's a
start.
It's a start. You can try. All right. I think the problem is
that's
it for public comment.
Can I just ask one more thing, as long as Mr. Minder is here?
Do something for us.
Mr. Minder asked about fireworks to stop at 10 o'clock.
To start and try.
Would that be redundant with our noise ordinance, or is that something that we could do?
All right, that's it for public comment.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just using your example. Mr. Minder is here. So, Chief, Mr. Minder asked about fireworks to stop at 10 o'clock. Would that be redundant with our noise ordinance, or is that something that we could do? Yeah, I understand, but I'm just using your example.
Isn't it a constitutional right to use fireworks?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we could always make laws more restrictive. We couldn't make them less restrictive.
State law. Okay, I think that's something we should do. I've had a number of residents complain as well, especially like some residents said it's 2 o'clock in the morning and they're like woken up out of bed and they don't know what just happened.
We could always make laws more restrictive.
I will say it's already illegal to do that in town.
I think that's something we should do. I've had a
we can
number
do something more restrictive. I don't agree that it will really impact anything, because the people that are doing this are already doing it when they're not supposed to be doing it. So that's where the redundancy would be. I will say it's already illegal to do that in town, and I would agree that we could do something more restrictive. I don't agree that it will really impact anything, because the people that are doing this are already doing it when they're not supposed to be doing it. So that's where the redundancy would be.
Well, if this body decides that we want to do more restrictive, I would also like to expand that 150-foot perimeter, because there's almost no place, unless you go to the two parks, there's no place in town where you're going to make the 150. Right. Well, if this body decides that we want to do more restrictive, I would also like to expand that 150-foot perimeter, because there's almost no place. Yeah, it says 150 feet. There's no place in town where you're going to make the 150.
Setting them off in the middle of streets.
So right
around all the houses, and nothing gets done. So
I don't know.
I don't see what that's going to work either.
We still need people to call the police when they happen.
Any street.
I don't think a lot of it's happening.
Before the July, when you got 15 people setting them off, the police can't be in all the houses, and nothing gets done. So it happened here again this year. I've been here 10 years, and it hasn't got any better.
We still need people to call the police when they happen.
Sure.
And I don't think a lot of that's happening.
Absolutely do, but on the 4th of July, when you got 15 people
and we don't have 10 officers on to be able to go to all those spots either. I understand that. Right.
They do happen here again this year. They can. I get that. The worst thing 10 years you did was legal. It hasn't got any better. That was the downfall at all. Even though we have laws.
All right, we're going to move on.
And we don't have 10 officers on to be able to go to all those spots either.
Approval of the minutes, 6A, approval of the minutes for the Borough Council regular meeting.
I get that.
of
The worst thing
May
Pennsylvania did was
17th,
legalize it.
2021. Can I have a
That was
motion?
the downfall of it all.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second discussion. We're going to
I
move
just
on.
have a quick question. I'd like
We're gonna move on
to have it checked. I
Action
don't
item
know.
6, which
I think it said
approval of the
that I
minutes. 6A,
mentioned
approval of the minutes for the
Susan
Borough
Miller,
Council regular
not Susan
meeting
Taylor.
of May 17th,
forgot what page that
2021.
was
Can
on.
I have a motion?
When they were
So
talking about,
Second.
yeah, it was on page 3.
A motion and a second
We
discussion.
were talking about the neighbors of Dave Nay,
I'd like
who
to
wanted to
have
put
it
up a
checked.
plaque.
I don't know.
I said that I had contacted Susan.
mentioned,
I thought I said Taylor, but Susan Miller, so
not Susan
that'd be the only
Taylor.
change I would see. If we
Forget
could
what
just
page
check
that
on
was
that
on.
and approve
When
it
they were
with that
talking
change if necessary.
about-
Yeah, it was on page 3. We were talking about the neighbors of Dave Nay,
Anyone else?
who wanted to put up a plaque. I said that I had contacted Susan. I thought I said Taylor, but it's typed in Miller, so that'd be the only change I would see.
Page 3, 1, 2,
If we could just check on that and approve it with that change if necessary.
Anyone else? All right, hearing no further comment. All in favor?
Page
Opposed?
3, 1, 2, 3.
Abstentions?
Fourth paragraph.
Motion passes. Moving on to 7, Finance, 7A, the Treasurer's Report. See, that was, everybody got a copy of that? 7B, to call for a motion to approve the bill list. All right, hearing no further comment.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. Second.
Opposed? Motion and a second. Discussion? Abstentions?
I have
Motion
just a couple
passes.
questions.
Moving on to
if I may.
7, Finance, 7A, the Treasurer's
There was
Report.
there was a
That was
bill
it.
paid
Everybody
to
got a
the
copy of
Commonwealth
that?
of Pennsylvania for a
7B.
right-of-way charge
Call for a motion to
to the
approve the bill list.
DCNR. So moved. Anybody know what that is about?
I don't know,
Motion
but I would
second,
venture a
discussion.
good guess it has to do with
I have
the
just a
crossing
couple
here in Bridge
questions,
Street,
if I may.
with the canal, that
There was
project.
you mean,
There was a bill
by-
paid to
by
the
Commonwealth of
7-Eleven?
Pennsylvania
Yes.
for a right-of-way charge? Okay. To the DCNR? And then, second question is, anybody know what that is dumping
about?
fee? Now, John,
I
I
don't
was going to
know,
ask
but
this
I
if
would
John
venture a
comes
good
up.
guess it has
I
to do
know our
with
contract says
the
that
crossing here in Bridge
we get
Street.
one free dumping fee.
For the canal,
a
that
free
project.
dumping. Oh, you mean that Republic would
by
pay for?
7-Eleven back then?
But we
Yes.
had a bill for $764
Okay.
that we did.
And then,
And I was just
second
wondering,
question
have
is,
we already
there was a
used
dumping fee.
our
Now, John,
other
I was going to ask
dump?
this if John comes up. I know our
Or-
contract says that we get one free dumping fee, a free dumping that Republic would pay for. But we
Not
had a bill
sure.
for $764 that
I know we do get
did.
one. I'm not sure
And
why.
I was just wondering,
I
have
think
we
that bill
already
would be turned
used
into
our other dump?
Republic, I think is how we did it.
Or-
I'm not sure if we've done that or, I didn't have 2 dumps in 1 month. I know that. We can look into it and see and make sure
Okay,
it's going
that
to the
we
right spot. But
get reimbursed if necessary,
yeah,
right?
yeah, we do. I just don't know. I know we do get one. I'm not sure why. That's why I don't see that bill. So it would
Okay.
be turned into, we can look into it for sure. Republic,
All
I
right.
think is how we did it.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if we've done that or.
So
I didn't have
Republic
2
was
dumps
supposed
in
to
1
be
month.
here
I know
last
that. We can look
week
into it
or
and
last
see.
month, and they're not,
Make sure.
didn't show up
Okay.
to be here this month.
Get reimbursed if necessary,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Garbage
I
issue
don't
isn't
know.
getting any
No, but
better.
I
Is
don't
there a
see them.
reason they
That's why I
didn't
don't
show
see
up
those
this
bills,
month to give us
Okay.
a
But we can look into it
discussion?
for sure.
All right. Thank you.
No one
So
asked them to
Republic
come.
was supposed to be here
And the
last
reason they didn't
week
come
or
last time is
month, and they're not,
from the email that
didn't
I was
show up, they're
given,
not
they
here
had the
this
wrong
month.
date on their calendar.
And the garbage issue isn't getting any
I
better.
would just
Is
assume
there a
they
reason they didn't
reschedule
show up this month? They asked for that presentation, no?
Yes, they did, and I don't know how I got it wrong. Asked them to come. That's what I was told. And the reason they didn't come last time is
I'll be one from council
from the
to
email
ask
that
to
I
have
was
them at our
given,
next
they
meeting.
had the wrong date on their calendar.
I agree. I think they should,
Well, I
show
would
up.
just assume they reschedule.
We could just send out an
They
email
asked
if
for
you don't
that
mind.
Since we brought up the
presentation,
subject
no?
of Republic, which I was going to bring up later.
Yes, they did, and I don't
It's
know
also in the
how I got it
contract that
wrong.
we can
That's what I
find
was
them
told.
every day that
So
they don't pick
I'll be
up.
one from council to
And I think
ask
that
to
we
have them at our
should
next
start-
meeting.
Yeah,
Maybe keeping
I
better
agree.
track and
I
find
think
them.
they should show up.
And use that
We could just
tool
send
if we
out an
have
email
to.
if you don't mind.
Since we brought up the
Yeah, there were people on
subject of
Ohio
Republic,
Avenue
which I was going to
that
bring
did
up
not
later.
get their garbage
It's
picked
also in the
up.
contract that
I
we
forget
can
if it was
find
Monday and they
them
had to wait till
every day
Thursday, or
that
if
they
it was
don't pick
Thursday
up.
and it sat there all
And I think
weekend
that we should
to
start
Monday. But
maybe keeping better
I
track
walk the
and
town
find
and
them.
I see it myself. Garbage is just
and
not
use
getting
that-
picked up.
use
And
that
I don't
tool
know
if
why
we have
whole
to.
streets are being missed.
Yeah,
Because there were
point of
people
order.
on
We have
Ohio
a-
Avenue
we have
that
a-
did not
we're getting a
get
little
their
bit off
garbage
track.
picked up. I forget if it was Monday and they had to wait till Thursday, or if it was Thursday and it sat there all weekend to Monday. But I walk the town and I see it myself. Garbage is just not getting picked up, and I don't know why whole streets are being missed. You've seen the emails.
Point of order. We have call, Virginia, please.
We have
we're getting a little bit
off.
Yes.
Ms. Alamo?
Yes.
Mr. Nichol?
Yes. Anything else?
Mr. Paul?
Yes. The bills, Nancy?
Mr. Robinson?
Pardon me? No, that was it.
Anybody else?
Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
Roll call, Virginia, please.
Yes. And Mr. Park? Mr. Bowers?
Yes.
Ms.
And motion
Alamo?
passes.
Yes.
Moving on to 8,
Mr. Nichol?
reports. Mayor's report. Since the mayor's
Mr.
not
Paul?
here, we're going to move on to 8B,
Mr.
police chief's
Robinson?
report.
Yes.
Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
Mr. Yeager?
Yes.
And
Good
Mr.
evening,
Park?
everyone.
Yes. And motion passes.
I guess we
Moving
need
on
to speak
8,
about
reports.
flyers then.
Mayor's report.
July 4th at
Mayor's
1:43
not here. We're going to
a.m.
move on to 8B, police chief's
They
report.
had a after-hours party, which I was not aware of. The gentleman who runs the place told me everyone promised that he would let me know, but he didn't. We need to speak about the flyers then. There was approximately 300 people in the parking lot, 1:43 a.m., 7-Eleven. They had an after-hour party, which I was not aware of. One person got shot in the leg. The gentleman who runs the place told me he promised that he would let me know. The second male shot, but he didn't at the same time. So also showed up 300 people in the parking lot, on Trent there, like 7-Eleven. He said he shot at. So, but the one gentleman, the one person that shot did not cooperate. 31-year-old male from Trenton. With that being said, I did contact the owner of the same time Flyers Den, and he also showed up at my hospital in Trenton by a private auto. He said he was July 9th. So. It's been one shot here, did not cooperate. I was able to find out about that. With that being said, I did contact the owner of got that canceled Flyers Den, and he has never returned. That would have been another ugly crowd outside. Considering July 9th, it's been probably can only fit about 20 people in there. Going to have a stripper night. I was able to find out about that. The rest of the clubs, and he went over and spoke to the gentleman and got that canceled right away. One on Plaza Boulevard, that lounge, another ugly crowd. Not had a lot of people there, considering you might be getting the message. The Spin Hookah Lounge seems to be getting the message. Now that the, also between the legal action and the parking lot has started. One on Plaza Boulevard, it's a lounge, chaining it off at nighttime. Not had a lot of people there. Which, you might be getting the parking lot is a good thing. The hookah lounge seems to be getting what I'm afraid of is the people making out in the neighborhood. Also, it's sort of like a legal action with that situation. So we're, the parking lot has started putting on a poll. He's gotten the message and started chaining that off. Like I said, the numbers have been better there. For the parking lot is a good thing. Besides that, crime still stays down 40% year to date neighborhood. So it's sort of like a double-edged sword with that situation. Everything else is okay. So we're hoping that
Chief, on the sip and spin, I saw the code enforcement also issued a cease and desist. Is that correct? For that use?
Besides that, crime still stays down 40%. I know he sent a letter to Elizabeth, the lady who owns the building, after I talked to him about that. But he never went inside the building.
Chief, on the sip and spin. I think it's a issued a cease and desist letter. A cease and desist, and they wouldn't post it on the door. But that use?
Usually they do. Like we just put a cease and desist letter to Elizabeth, the lady who runs the building, the old muffler shop. I talked to him about that, but he never went inside the building. But I went over there. I went into the place to talk to the owner.
Okay, I think it just issued a cease and desist letter, so
this is the second event where there would be 200 people in a parking lot. What is the process for the officers to dismantle that before something like the 1:30 shooting happened?
There's not a whole lot you can do there. I went into the place and talked. I would have to call my whole department in.
Thanks.
And start moving people out.
So this is the second event where there would be 200 people in a parking lot. What is the process for the officers to dismantle that before something like the 1:30 shooting happened?
But there's not a whole lot you can do to maintain the peace. I would have to call my whole department in. And start
residents were telling me that they were outside drinking in the parking lots.
They were just standing there.
So I mean, that to me is not keeping the peace. I mean, if there are laws about that, isn't there like backup that could be called and disperse these crowds?
Tough thing to do.
residents were telling me that they were outside drinking in the parking lots.
Said they were.
Yeah, so I mean, that to me is not keeping the peace. I mean, there are laws about that. Is there like backup that could be called and disperse these crowds?
All for a summary violation. In this day and age, so call in other police departments and start pushing people out of the parking lot. Very tough call. And that's why we've been trying just to keep the peace and maintain and get there and watch things, just keep things down. But remember, the officers are still answering 911 calls that whole time. All for a summary violation. So it's a tough thing. This is happening all over. You're watching it over in Jersey now. Jersey's watching the flash mobs. We've been trying just to peace and maintain and get there. They come, they hang out, just keep things down. Hang out in the parking lot. Remember, the officers are still answering 911. This gentleman that night actually gave out ticket for an after hours party. It's a tough thing. This is happening all over. You're watching over in Jersey now. Jersey's watching the flash mobs and say, that's what this is. This is not a flash mob. Like you hang out and gave to our borough, being what you're operating as. He's operating as a sound actually gave out ticket for an after hours front, a t-shirt place. Or now he's running private parties. It comes back down to your code enforcement. Has to go in there and say, this is not.
I agree. I don't think our code is doing a good job in doing these things, preventing them, monitoring them.
He's operating as a sound studio.
Code's not there to prevent them.
Yeah, I have to disagree. I mean, if it's a situation where we're saying that it's dangerous for police to be there and push people around, to suggest that we should send code enforcement in there to push people around doesn't sound right. I'm not saying you said that. I'm not saying you said that, sir.
What they have to do is they are advertising their
code's not there to prevent them.
Yeah, I have to disagree. I mean, if it's a situation where we're saying that it's dangerous for police to be there and push people around, to suggest that we should send code enforcement there to push people around doesn't sound right. I'm not saying you said that. I'm not saying you said that.
What they have to do is go there. Clear the crowd out or go during the party or bring on afterwards.
I'm addressing the idea that it's preventable by them. That's what I'm trying to address here.
Traffic citations.
Well, I think what the chief said, and I agree, I'm not asking that they go there that night, but preventable and when something happens, then they have to be a little more proactive.
Clear the crowd out or go during the party. It could be a little done afterwards.
I'm addressing the idea that it's preventable by them. That's what I'm trying to address here.
Well, I think what the chief said,
what he was and
I agree. I'm not asking that they go there that night, but preventable and when something happens, then they have to be a little more proactive.
One signature on it, maybe it goes before a whole board preventable. Say, we have that club lounge going on, what you're doing. That story that guy doesn't make any sense. And then on paper about what he was and what we end up getting, what we get, like that. It's completely whether that prevents it or not. So I think rather than,
I mean, if they're not going to be honest either way,
maybe it goes before a whole board.
It's tough. You know what I mean?
You know, and just say sorry, but you're someplace else. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. And then that's up to you guys. And then we end up getting what we get. It's so whether that's nice or not, you know.
I mean, if they're not going to be honest either way, it's tough. You know,
you're going to have, and you say sorry, go someplace else. Profitable business.
Mr. Parker, can I? This is all related. We had the ordinance about hookah lounges and bars and so forth.
You can't have a business that you only have a fire code of 25 people.
Not tonight. No, it's been advertised. We're advertising it. We've sent it to the Planning Commission. We have to give them a certain amount of time to review.
We had
so it'll be in front of you at all.
Hookah lounges and bars and so forth.
Proper laws, but the idea of getting it out in front,
this evening?
getting it open, having it in front of council. Not tonight. No, it's been advertised. So people can't try and run it. We're advertising it. We've sent it to the this way you can still work through it, get everything done, but the notice is out there that you're looking to change it. So it'll be on. It'll be in front of you at all.
People are breaking the law, breaking the law. It's almost the same as the fireworks.
The idea of getting it out in front,
I've said a million times, you can't legislate good neighboring. You just can't.
It doesn't work. Ordinance doctrine, so people can't try and run in ahead of you.
But the fact,
and this way you can still work through it, get everything done. But the notice is out there.
The owner of the properties are made aware of this. People are breaking the law because they can also be fined. It's almost the same as the fireworks.
Yes.
Not just
the renter. You can't legislate good neighboring. You just can't. It doesn't work.
Chief, on the fire den, have you met with code enforcement and discussed it at all to see if you can come up with a plan?
But the fact that the owner of the properties are
my second comment on that would.
Because they can also be
throwing
fined.
People out.
Is that correct?
Is an issue. I'm just trying to think of an end around. if the borough were to make that
on the flyer, then have you met with
only
code
for that
enforcement
parking lot,
and discussed it at all?
have certain spots open by
and my second
ordinance
comment on
during
that
the day
would-
or daylight hours till 9 o'clock or something
throwing
like that,
people
and
out
then towaway zone without
is an
a permit.
issue. I'm just
Is that
trying to
another
think
way
of
to
an
end around? Send people, send the tow truck
make
or send Ted
five tow trucks in there
only
only
for that parking lot out and have certain spots open.
Problem is, you have Washington Avenue, you have Bridge Street, you have
Ordinance
7-Eleven
during the day or
parking lot,
daylight
you have
hours
all
till
over
9
there.
o'clock or something like that, and
At night,
then
it's
I'm just trying to think
without a
that's
permit.
right in front of the
Is that
building.
another way that, you know,
it's something that
send
people send the tow
it's our lot
truckers
to own
and
and
5
do
tow
what
trucks
we
in there and
like.
start just towing people
We
out
talked about that
if the
before
crowd's
about
too
parking
big.
in there. The problem is, you have Washington stickers on them, and Bridge Street have permit parking. 7-Eleven parking lot. Definitely a way to there get around that. Yes. At night, it's
I'm just trying to think. That's right in front of the
I
building.
really don't
It's
think
a
that's
municipal lot.
some
It's something that we could.
Yes.
It's our
The
lot
other
to own
parking
and
lots
do
that are
with what
there,
we like.
And the night that July 4th, the night of the shooting there, about the part, they were stickers. I got here, and there were still people parking over in the 7-Eleven parking lot. Get around that an hour later. Now, still shooting up fireworks and
I really
drinking.
don't think that's going to solve your issue. I think that the other parking lots that are there,
And the night that it's a tough situation, July 4th, the best way to that is have it. If you want to have a business whatsoever, there's still people, unfortunately, over 7-Eleven parking lot, you know, an hour later.
Can we, I'm sorry, Mr. Parker, can we restrict the hours
So,
The hours.
of operation?
tough situation. Better,
For
the best way
businesses
to
in
that is
general?
have it.
For businesses in
Not have
general,
business whatsoever.
sure. I mean, but remember that some of those things would come in under non-conforming uses if they
Can we-
already exist. But
sorry,
yes,
Mr.
you know,
Parker,
under
can we
zoning, you
restrict the
can
hours?
restrict uses, but understand, I've looked at this in the hours,
Of
larger
operation?
cities, larger municipalities, that
For businesses
you
in
do run the
general?
risk of. For businesses in general, being over-inclusive. I mean, remember that some of those things that come in need to be open at those hours and exist. But yes, you know, under zoning, you can, it can get very tough, but it is something you understand, but it's very tough to do.
Well, I mean, we would have to
Larger cities,
exclude
larger
bars, we'd have
municipalities
to
that
exclude the
you do run the
7-Eleven.
risk of
The
being
the late night
over-inclusive, and you
food,
get businesses that, some businesses need to be open at those hours, and
then you end up in court, and then you're.
it can get very tough, and it is something it's something you can do, but it's
I
very
know
tough to
where you're
do.
going, and I
well, I
can't
mean,
disagree with you.
we would have to
but
exclude bars,
unfortunately,
we'd have to exclude the
it's a hard
7-Eleven.
one, so.
The late night food,
Yeah, she's right. It's a very difficult thing to do. It's very difficult all over, and these things need to be crafted carefully to focus on specific things, and then you run into the issue where things that already exist that are the issue doesn't really deal with.
still gonna be here,
Right.
right?
So it's a matter of Chief's right. It's a very difficult thing to do. As Chief has been saying, all departments getting involved all over, doing their part. These things need to be crafted carefully to focus on specific things, and
I
then
have a
you run the
question for the
issue
chief
where
that wasn't part of
things
what,
that already exist
I was
that are
gonna
the
ask you
issue
about disposition
doesn't
of
really deal
records.
with.
Still gonna be here. Have you
Right.
done
So
any of that lately?
It's a
Are
matter
you
of
good to
working
go?
amongst everyone, as the
Are you
chief
up
has
to
been
date?
saying, all departments getting involved and
Pension records?
doing
Yeah.
their part.
I'm good.
Okay.
I have a run downstairs. It was
I have a question
filled
for the
from
chief
head to
that
toe when
wasn't
I
part
got
of
here,
what-
and every
I
year
was
we
gonna
go
ask you
through.
about disposition of
Whatever
records.
we have to put
Have
up, and
you
we'll
done
come
any
back
of that
to you with
lately? Are you good to go? To be able to do it legally, right? Are you up to date? And
We follow the same pension records.
yeah, and
I'm good.
I'll have the same question for
I have a run downstairs.
Micah,
It was filled
when
from
we
head to
get
toe
there, I
when I
guess.
got here, and every year we
Just
go
wondering
through.
how the borough's done
Whatever
it.
we
Thank
have to
you.
get rid of, and then we'll come back. If you ever want to see it, I'll show you the room that we have everything.
To be able to do it legally,
Like the
right?
rules right up there. We'll
And I-
we follow the same retention record. Before I got
And
here.
I'll
that
have the
was
same
not
question for Micah when we get there. Just wondering how
Moving
the
on
borough's
to
done it. Thank you.
8C,
If
manager's
you
report.
ever want to see it, I'll show you the room that we have everything. And
Just two real quick things, I won't be long. One, I did inform council that we did receive the American Relief Fund Act monies, and looking into what we can and cannot spend it on.
Moving on to
And,
8C, manager's report.
Once we get more information, we will be just looking into doing a few things around the borough. One, I did inform council that we did receive the American Relief Fund Act monies
to installments.
and
I think it was
and looking
454.
into what we can and cannot spend it
half of it
on
this year and half of it next year at the same time.
Once we get more information, we will be
When did you send that out?
looking into doing a few things around the
Okay.
borough.
How much was
Last
that?
week, I believe I sent it out.
Just over
Wednesday or Thursday,
400,000.
got it.
Thank you.
It comes in two
The
installments.
second thing is, in
think it
this
was
last
454.
set of bills, we did
Half of it this year and half of
spend
it
some
next year at the
recreation
same
money
time.
to get new basketball nets. And once public work gets back up to par and have enough people, they will be putting them in the park. Last week, I believe I sent it out. Thank you. Wednesday or Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just have one question?
The second thing is, in this last set of bills,
I just
we
realized that there are cell towers on top of the Stockham building, and that those cell towers generated revenue for the owner of that building. So now that we have it at the redevelopment authority. Can I just have one question? Who is getting that revenue? Should Morrisville be getting that revenue, or is that going to the redevelopment authority? There are cell towers on top of the Stockham building,
that's still in litigation.
Those cell towers generated revenue for the owner of that building.
The RDA doesn't really own it.
No, they don't own it. No, they're working
at the redevelopment
with
authority.
the county on
who is
putting
getting that
together
revenue? Should Morrisville be getting that revenue, or is that going to the redevelopment authority?
I don't think they took it.
That's still, there hasn't been a change in title. That hasn't been finalized yet.
So as part two of that question,
no, they don't know.
I don't know if that's the tallest building or not the tallest building, but is there any way that we can get those cell phone towers on a borough property in order to get
there hasn't been a change in title.
That?
I mean, the assumption is that somebody's getting money monthly. I'm not sure that that's the case. Sometimes they pay those contracts out in advance.
Or not the tallest building, but is there any way that we can get those
missing in action may have cashed it in already for all I know.
On a borough property in order to get revenue from
that. If I remember right, Mr. Mitchell was talking about for a while about
the assumption is that somebody's getting money monthly. I'm not sure that that's the case. Sometimes they pay those contracts out in advance.
Eventually that they'll be on
the owner that's been kind of missing in action may have cashed it in already for all I know.
That discussion.
We don't have copies of the contract, so I don't know.
In reference to the tall building, the towers, Presbyterian Towers is tallest, and it does have
the advancements of 5G and
cell phone towers on it.
Smaller antennas that are needed, and eventually there'll be on utility poles and stuff like that. And
month we may have asked for the engineer to come in and give an update on the grant for the levies recertification.
In reference to the tall building, the towers, Presbyterian Towers is tallest, and it does have many
to the public.
cell phone towers on it.
It's been a while. Okay.
I have one quick comment.
I will speak with Gilmore and have them come in.
We may have asked for the engineer to come in and give an update on the grant for the levies recertification.
We're going to move on to 18.
Have them come in next month or provide something to us.
Does anyone have anything they want to report
to the public?
Suggest that because it's been a while. All right, hearing none, then I'll go on with mine.
I will speak with Gilmore and
on
have
June
them come in
30th,
next meeting.
There was a Parks and Open Space Committee meeting. Any other questions? There was discussion. All right, we're going to move on to 18, musical and events in the park and possibly movie nights. And this was something that Mr. Mitchell had suggested last year and actually was mine. There was money budgeted for that. On June 30th, so there was some discussion at the Open Space Committee meeting. I had already there was discussion, been in contact with the administration about events in the park and possibly movie nights. Back and forth something Premier Movie Nights, Mr. Mitchell, the company that Mr. Mitchell had been working with, actually was, and there was money budgeted for that. Their president actually was very sad to hear some discussion of dates and stuff like that, and was willing to. I had already honor any date that we been in contact with the administration about that, and we had been going back and forth. So there will be a movie night in September, which is the company that Mr. Mitchell had been working with, and September 18th, their president actually was very sad to 10:30, passed away, and was willing to by the stage area honor any date that we. And then there was discussion of music events, which is something also that the administration had been talking about. Something that Mr. Mitchell also had wanted to do and tentatively scheduled right now are 2 events in August. Well, they're not tentatively. We're waiting for final 8 to 10:30 in the park from the August stage area. One had already issued an invoice to the borough of music events, and the other one we're waiting to get from administration. It will be the 14th. Something Mr. Mitchell also had wanted to do. And tentatively scheduled right now are 2 events in August.
Who issued us an invoice?
We're waiting for final word from the audit. One had already issued an invoice to the borough. August 14th will be Lisa Bouchard to get from a local resident. 14th. The area, and then on the 28th will be the First Time Around band, which its drummer is actually a Morrisville borough resident. And September events are still being worked on. The August 14th will be
you said somebody
Lisa
issued
Bouchard,
an invoice already?
Well, it's a the area, and then on the 28th will be the first time around band.
And what is that?
Which its drummer is actually a Morrisville.
And I believe the first time around band, which we're waiting on, is 600.
And the September events are still being worked on. Also, there was discussion
Ted, you said somebody issued us an invoice already?
about Labor Day, which the mayor,
So that it's an invoice.
we're waiting to hear back from the mayor, but in absence of hearing back
And
from
what
the
is
mayor,
that?
300. The administration has begun to reach out to the vendors that were there last year. Also, there was discussion
in progress, and something will be pulled off in time
about
for
Labor Day, which the mayor, we're waiting to hear back from the mayor, but in
How much
absence of
money was
hearing back from the
budgeted
mayor,
for these events?
before the administration has begun to reach out to the vendors that were there last year.
night and other events, there was 8,000 on top of what was all
that work is in progress, and
something that was already
will be pulled off
in
in time for Labor
that
Day.
line item, but it won't even be half.
And how much money was budgeted for these events?
I have a question, Mr. Parker. Is it not money also set aside for Labor Day? Would that be included?
The Labor Day, yes, everything for Labor Day, there's a separate line item for that, something that was already in that line item. Again, it's not to spend money, just to spend it. It's to make sure that we get the best value we can for.
Isn't not money also set aside for Labor Day? Would that be included?
The Labor Day, yes, everything for Labor Day, there's a separate line item for that as well.
I know, like we lost Scott.
Again, it's not to spend money, just to spend it. It's to make sure that we get the best value we can for what we're trying to accomplish.
So just to give you a heads up, it's Civil Service Committee.
That's pretty much it.
We have 18 finalists, oral interviews on August 2nd, August 3rd, for the position of police officer, Civil Service Committee. And they will be tested
Scott, are
by
you still there?
chiefs. And we should have, open by the end of September to have this process. We have 18
Thank you for
finalists,
the update.
oral interviews on August 2nd, August 3rd, for the position of police officers. And they will be tested by 3 chiefs.
Scott, are you with us?
And we should
Yep, I'm
have,
here. I just
hoping by the end of September to have this
Did you hear the update from the chief?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah, I think
Is there
that's what I'm talking
anything you
about.
wanted to add? Is there anything you wanted to add?
That's fine. That's
Okay.
that's where we're at right now. Nope, that was fine.
Okay. All right, Scott, are you with us? Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to action items. 9A, call for a motion to approve. Did you hear the update from the 2021-2022 gasoline and diesel annual? Anything you wanted to add? Contract through the Bucks County Consortium?
No, that's fine. That's
unleaded regular gasoline.
Nope, that was fine.
PAPCO at. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to action items. 9A, call for a motion to approve 2021 per gallon delivery gasoline and diesel annual pricing contract through the Bucks County Consortium. Low sulfur diesel fuel, unleaded regular gasoline at 0.2307 per gallon delivery charge, market fluctuation, fluctuation pricing, 1813 per gallon delivery charge, off-road diesel fuel number 2 pricing, diesel Colonial Industries at low sulfur diesel fuel 774 per gallon, delivery charge, market fluctuation pricing per gallon delivery charge, market fluctuation pricing. Second. Motion and a second discussion. Off-road diesel fuel number 2, diesel Colonial Industries at 0.2774 per gallon.
Fluctuate.
Delivery charge, market fluctuation pricing. Can I have a motion, please?
The dollar amount there is the delivery charge.
Yes. Motion and a second
When we
discussion.
order, they pay the market price per gallon at that time.
So this
plus
price
that delivery.
includes the delivery charge or the delivery charge fluctuate?
Significant.
I assume that's because there's no taxes on it because it's government. The dollar amount there is the delivery charge.
Yes.
You pay, when we order, they pay the market price per gallon at that time. Plus that delivery.
It's significantly cheaper than what you see on signs.
Yes.
Okay.
Significantly.
I assume it's because there's no taxes on it because it's government.
Yes.
Correct.
Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Anyone else?
Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
Virginia, roll call, please.
Mr. Yeager?
Yes.
Mr. Bowers?
Mr. Parker? Yes. Yes.
Ms. Wong?
All right, 9B, call
Mr.
for a
Nichol?
motion to move the regular Morrisville Borough Council meetings
Paul?
from the third Monday of each month
Mr.
to the
Robinson?
third Tuesday of each month.
Yes.
Can I have a motion?
Mrs. Sherlock?
So moved.
Yes.
Mr. Yeager?
Yes. Motion moved in second. Discussion? All right, 9B.
I'd just like to say I can't do this. I already have a meeting scheduled
Morrisville Borough Council
Tuesday
meetings
because
from
the
the
council
third
meeting
Monday of
moved
each
it to
month to the third Tuesday of each
Tuesdays.
month. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Anyone else?
Second.
Motion moved and second. Discussion?
I'd just like to say I can't do this. I already have a
Hearing
meeting
none.
scheduled
Virginia, can do a roll
every
call, please.
Tuesday,
Yes.
third Tuesday because
Mr.
of the council
Bowers?
meeting. We moved it to
Mr. Longo?
Tuesdays.
Well, I mean,
Anyone
I
else?
hate to, I mean, I hate to say yes, but
Hearing none. Virginia,
Justin
do a roll
is
call,
leaving
please.
council, and so how
Mr.
many
Bowers?
meetings would that be?
No.
When is this effective?
Mr. Longo?
It would be the next one.
So it would be, well, I mean, I hate to. August, September, October, November, December. That's 5 months, Justin. I know you made a motion, but like, do you have a problem if we do that? Or Justin is leaving council, and so how many meetings would that be? When is, would this effective? Can we make this effective January?
Point of order, we're out of discussion on this, aren't we?
August,
Well,
September, October, November, December. Think after Justin, 5 months. Justin, I'm sorry, just, I know you made a motion, but like, do you have a problem if we do that, or? No, I'll wait till, I mean, he's not going to start this effective date in December. Can we make this effective January?
Point of order, we're out of discussion on this, aren't we?
We are. Good, Virginia.
Well, I didn't have a moment to think after Justin. I'm sorry, just started.
Mr. Robinson?
Then I'm going to vote no. I'll wait till, I mean, unless you move to start this effective date in December, I mean, January, I'll have to vote no.
Just for Justin's sake, it's 5 more months. I mean, either night doesn't work for me. Either Thursdays would be best for me. So,
Mr. Paul?
you know, everybody wanted to keep it on Monday last year, so we do 5 more months to keep it on Monday. We can open it up in January again. I'm going to go with no because this is something we can revisit this in January.
Mrs. Sherlock?
Just for Justin's sake, it's 5 more months.
I'm not sure what the purpose of it was. I was just, I figured there was a reason.
So, you know, everybody wanted to keep it on Monday
I'm
last
just going
year,
to say
so
yes because I was willing to say yes until I heard all
we
this.
can open it up in January again. So I'll vote no.
Mr. Yeager?
No.
Mrs. Sherlock? And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
I'm not sure what
All right,
the
motion fails.
purpose of it was. I was just, I figured there was a reason.
I mean, I think you can revisit this in a couple of months.
I'm just going to say yes because I was willing to say yes until I heard all
I
this.
would vote yes.
Moving on to 9C, call
Mr.
for a
Yeager?
motion to advertise the zoning ordinance
And Mr.
amendment
Parker?
concerning the regulation of smoke shops and All right, tobacco
motion
stores.
So moved.
Second.
Moving on, motion and
I
second
mean, I
discussion.
think you can revisit this
I have
in a couple months.
we'll call it one good question at least.
No
So I went
would
through,
vote
I read
yes.
it all.
Moving on to 9C,
and
call for a motion
makes
to
sense.
advertise the
My
zoning
question
ordinance
is, has
amendment
anybody looked
concerning
at
the
it from the
regulation
aspect,
of
because this was
smoke
the
shops
first
and
I
tobacco
actually got to
stores?
see it. Has anybody looked at it from the aspect of what we
Second.
currently have? And
Motion
if it
and
was in
second
place,
discussion.
would anything be different?
I have
In
a-
other words, I know it calls for like
we'll call it one
150
good
feet
question at
from,
least.
or 1,000 feet from the
So
school.
I went through, I read
1,000
it all,
feet from, a bunch of different
and
things.
it makes
1,000
sense.
feet from each,
My
from
question
another,
is, has anybody
smoke
looked at it
shop.
from the aspect,
But
because this was the
if
first
that
I
were the
actually
case
got to
right
see
now,
it,
would we have
anybody
any
looked at it from
fewer
the
smoke
aspect
shops?
of
What we currently have, and if it was in place, would anything be
I would
different?
think going forward,
In other
we
words, I
would.
know it calls for like 150 feet from, or 1,000 feet from the school. Fine. 1,000 feet
what I'm
from,
asking
you know, a
is,
bunch of
is there a
different things,
wholesale difference
1,000 feet
to
from each,
what we
from
currently
another,
have?
So I get that this
But
wouldn't
in-
affect what's
if that
already
were the
there.
case right
But
now,
in
would we have
theory,
any fewer
what I'm
smoke shops?
asking is there, like what we're doing here is fine, but
I would
do we
think
look
going
at it from
forward,
the
we would.
aspect of, okay, we already have a problem that we're trying to resolve, or, but what I'm asking is
not
really
there a
addressing the
wholesale
problem? Is
difference
1,000
to
feet
what we
too
currently
many? Is
have?
it too few?
So I
Is
get
it,
that this wouldn't
like,
affect what's
I'm just-
already there.
But in theory, what I'm asking is, I'm guessing, because this is the first we're getting to talk about it, but do we look at it from the aspect of, okay, we already have a problem that we're trying to resolve, or is that
Yeah, it's
is
mirrored
this
from other
not really
municipalities,
addressing the problem? Is
1,000 feet, other municipalities
too
have different
many? Is it
amounts.
too few?
1,000
Is it,
feet,
like,
it's-
I'm just,
I'm
guessing, because this is the first we're getting to talk
same
about
distance
it.
for marijuana dispensaries.
This
Yeah,
is
keeping those the
probably mirrored
same.
from other
Trees
municipalities,
the same
and
is the
it's
idea
something
there.
proven
Keeping
that
it close
works.
to that was the idea. 1,000
Yeah,
feet.
it's mirrored from
Thank
other
you.
municipalities.
So I guess what I'm
1,000
wondering
feet,
is,
other
as
municipalities have different
somebody
amounts.
who's going to vote on
1,000
this,
feet,
it's
is that enough? Because I don't see
same distance for marijuana
I can't look at an area and say that's 1,000 feet. Treating these the same is the idea. They're keeping it close to that. But if I were to know that, so I guess what I'm wondering as somebody who's going to vote on this, make a wholesale difference to our town. I feel different about it. We're kind of going into this not even really knowing if that's going to affect any change in town. I can't look at an area and say that's 1,000 feet. That's not 1,000 feet. I just don't know. But if I were to know that,
I think it may help us in the future. I mean, there's a shop down on Bridge Street that closed down about a year and a half ago.
I'd feel different about it. We're kind of going into this not even really knowing if that's going to affect
any change in town. But I do have a few questions I had emailed to Scott. But I don't even know, because it was very late, so I don't even know if you got those 4 questions. I think it may help us in the future.
Yeah, I saw some of them.
There's a shop down on Bridge Street that closed down about a year and a half ago.
And
no one's moved back in there. Well, the first question I have is, how are we notifying the current shops when this goes into place? But I did have a few questions I had emailed to Scott.
So it wouldn't necessarily
but I don't even know, because it was very late, so I don't know if you got those 4 questions or not.
The idea here is to focus on what's coming in and what's new. So it's going forward things.
Well, the first question I have is, how are we notifying the current age when this goes into place? Should that be in there?
This is zoning. We can add that in there. The current shops. The reason we didn't add that in there is it's pretty clear that the idea here is focus on what's coming in and what's new. So tobacco to people under 21. So the focus of the aging there was.
And it never mentions the current
requirements for
should that be there?
Who you can employ. Like we can add that in there. We looked at that. The reason we didn't add that in there is it's pretty clear that you can't sell marijuana. The reason a lot of places I've looked at this and looking at can't sell tobacco to people under 21. That they focus of the age in there was keep people off the premises is because some of these the requirements, the way it's written and the way some of these things are operated, like some of them are just legitimate 17. Convenience stores, gas stations, nicotine under this. So that was people under the age of the reason a lot of places I've looked at this and looking at the under the age of 21 we drafted here, they don't put the age in there to keep the idea is you didn't want to because some of these the way it's written and the way some of these things are those people in those situations where it's not just a convenience store, gas but if we wanted to add that in there, people under the age of
I just didn't know the legal ramifications of it all, but so
under the age of 21 have a legitimate purpose.
Because they also talk about the employee that must be of age. It doesn't say what age that is.
Those people in those situations where anyone under the age of 18 is not allowed to sell tobacco shop, but if we wanted to add that under the age of 18 is not allowed to serve alcohol in a restaurant.
Of it all, but so
even though they can't consume it themselves,
they also talk about the employee. So it must be 20, and that's a given for most people. It doesn't say what age that is. So I just didn't know.
Minor, so anyone under the age to be 18, under the age of 18, but
only
just
if
like
it was
someone under the age of,
necessary.
but the term minor has alcohol in a restaurant. It's the same idea. Even though they can't consume it themselves, they can be just an employee.
So I was just wondering, and that's a zoning board for most people. Did we talk to the zoning board about this? I don't think we did. Like, no, they don't know this is coming, right?
We could specify the age to be 18 under affect them. This would be put in as a conditional use.
Only if it was necessary.
But the term minor has a legal definition. People need to be able, because this is the difference between conditional use, special exception is conditional use.
I was just wondering, has the zoning board, we talked to the zoning board about this? I don't think we did. I don't believe they don't know this is coming, right? Take any action, but I think as a courtesy,
this would be put in as a conditional use.
It would be a bad idea for us to make sure that.
So it would actually come to council for, we can notify.
And that really, that was more of a.
The difference between conditional use, special exception is conditional use. You focus more on. Yeah, no, we can definitely notify them. Obviously, we have to notify the planning commission as well.
I don't believe that they need to know before we take any action, but I think as a courtesy.
The discounts?
It wouldn't be a bad idea for us to make sure that you're not allowed to give coupons.
Right, there is federal law about that as well.
I think I put that in there, that it was more of a question for administration.
So yes, we can definitely notify them. We can be more restrictive than what they have as well. And one more about our own regulations.
Okay.
Is it the discounts?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's.
You're not allowed to get clear.
So like Smoking Joe's
there is federal law about that as well.
1,000 feet from the canal, which is
it's very specific under the federal law as well as the state.
We can't touch them. They can continue to operate.
More restrictive than what they have.
However, if they were to sell, then a new cigarette shop could not move in there. So
it really depends on how we'd have to look at the specific situation.
So like Smoking
land
Joe's
use zoning is very
1,000 feet from the canal, which is
we couldn't say yes or no.
We can't touch them. They can continue to operate. However, if
and the
they were to
timing
sell,
of
then a new
if there was a
cigarette
sale,
shop
is
could
the best
not
way I
move
can
in there?
explain it. It really is. It really depends on zoning. What the land use very fact intensive. So without the zoning, it's very specific situation presenting itself. We couldn't say yes or no one way or the other. Particularly right
But
now,
if this had
it
been,
really
so
depends
like
on
the
how it
hairdresser
happens.
place that was on Crown
the
Street,
timing
if this had been in
if
place
there
when
was a
that
sale.
place
It's the best
sold,
way I can explain
that
it. It
smoke shop
really is
could never have opened.
When it comes to
That
zoning, when it
also
comes
is
to land
1,000
use, it's
feet
very
from the
fact
canal.
intensive. So without the, it would apply, and it would apply. I can't specific situation presenting itself. So I can't say one way or the other.
Yeah, but if
That
this had
would
been, so
apply.
like the
Yeah, if this
hairdresser
was in
place
place,
that
yes,
was
that would
on
apply.
Crown
Those
Street, if
changing
this had
use,
been
yes.
in place when that place
So
sold,
1,000 feet
that
is
smoke
about
shop
3
could
lengths
never
of a
have
football
opened.
field.
That also is 1,000
more.
feet from the
Yes.
canal.
It would apply, and
something
it
like
would
a mile.
apply. I can't, like, I don't know the distances, so, you know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That would apply,
Okay.
yeah, if this was in place, yes.
Is there
that would apply.
anything
If
that
it was
we can
changing
add to
use,
this
yes.
to number?
Okay.
So
To
1,000
limit
feet
the
is
number
about
of
3
lengths of a
businesses in
football
town?
field.
The idea of that is the distance apart. Is the way you do it.
Okay.
The distance.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
I have a number of comments and
Is
questions.
there anything that we can add to
My
this?
first
to
comment
number,
is, when I saw this on the
to
agenda,
limit the number of
I
like
kind of thought this
businesses in
was
town?
deja vu of last month,
The
where
idea of that
an
is
ordinance
the distance
appeared that
apart. Is the way you do it.
Okay.
was on the
All right.
agenda that
Okay.
we hadn't previously discussed. I didn't know where it came from. I have a number of why it was there. Questions. Then I got an email today. My first comment is when I saw the solicitor with this ordinance. I don't know if it was deja vu last month on who sent it there. An ordinance appeared that, and why it came from them before we had an agenda that we hadn't previously discussed. So I didn't know where other concerns are, why it was there. We have an item on the agenda. An email today at about 3:15 from the solicitor. We got it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But I don't know the day of a meeting. The solicitor was working on it. I know I was at work. I had a busy day. I didn't have time to read it. Why it came from them before we had a discussion. I'm not prepared because it was sent. My other concerns are. So I'm glad we have an item on the agenda for, but I was also, we got it, I tried to let everybody go because I'm going to call for a meeting, table this. I know I was at work, I had a busy day, I didn't have time to review it, and, you know.
And Scott, I think you had mentioned that once it's in process,
last minute.
We're okay.
So I'm glad that we're having
that this conversation that puts us in a position to hold
but
off?
I was also, you know, I tried to let everybody go because I'm going
We have a motion to table.
offer a motion to table this.
Yeah.
So that
Did
we
you
can
just
have
make
a
that
proper
motion?
time to
Oh, I
review
knew you
it.
said you were going to. I just didn't.
Scott, I think you had mentioned that once it's in process.
I'm going to make it. How about
we're
that?
okay.
But if we want to
Is
discuss,
that
I don't want to
this
stop the discussion. I
conversation
want to
that
have the
puts us in a
discussion, but I also
position
want to
to hold
know,
off?
put you on notice that
We have
I'm
a
going to make
motion.
that
It has to be
motion.
advertised, but we have a motion to table.
To come.
We have to move on that.
In case anybody else has any
Did you
comments they
just
want
make
to
that
make.
motion?
Yes.
Oh, I knew you said you were
So I
going
want
to.
to, I'll answer Mr. Yeager's question.
Let's
We
discuss.
would
I'm
need to
going to make
advertise
it. How
for it
about
to
that?
be.
But if we want to
for the
discuss,
pending
I don't want to
ordinance,
stop the
we'll take
discussion.
that.
I want to have the
We need to
discussion, but I also
advertise.
want to know, put you on notice
With regard
that
to, this is something
I'm
that
going to
came up
make that
very
motion.
late. Yes, we didn't realize it was something that was done. It was asked of us
In case
very
anybody
late.
else has any comments they want to make.
So
I want to, it was on Yeager's question. We got it done as quickly as we could.
it for it to be.
Again, what we're doing here
pending
is
ordinance will take effect.
looking to advertise. We need to advertise. It's still up for discussion. This is something that came up very late. Obviously, there's rules about that. It was something that was done. It was asked of us very late, and how the changes can work. But generally, as long as you're not putting in the week, it was substantively on Friday, and we got it done as quickly as we could. Example, again, what we're doing here is looking to advertise this tobacco and smoke shops. Now we're going to put in something into this ordinance about muffler shops. Obviously, there's rules where you get because it has to go to the planning commission and whatnot, and how the changes can work. But generally, as long as you're not putting in the make, the idea here is just getting this out there. We're talking about borough protected and putting the people on notice, and that way we can get it to the planning commission. We're talking about tobacco and smoke shops. Now we're going to put in something for their ordinance about as quickly as possible. That's where you get in trouble.
I also want to just add that
the general substance.
last year I brought a similar ordinance up to everyone's discussion.
Getting the borough protected and putting the people on notice, and that way we can get it to the planning commission, our planning commission, the Bucks County Planning Commission for their ordinance as well, as quickly as possible.
I don't know if it was last month or the prior month, I had asked, is there something to do? Last year, I Randy's the one that ordinance up to everyone's discussion because it was during executive and I called a meeting. We were sitting here and I rang about ordinances that towns had that were similar to this. I forget if it was the den or the lounge. I don't know if it was last month or the prior month. I had asked, is there something we can do? And then perhaps Randy is the one that
piggyback on that.
went forward with it because it was during executive and I said we have to.
Forwarded
Randy was
an
talking
ordinance that was
about
on the books in Milford, Pennsylvania, which is also a river town.
But I also asked again, is there
the,
something we can
on the
do?
Delaware. that had the same problem with influx of cigarette shops and stuff like that. On that. Actually, and Councilwoman was enacted in 2018. An ordinance that was on 2018. So it's a few years old. Pennsylvania, which is also a river town to the solicitor. There are several vacant properties in town that had the same problem with that would either cigarette shops and stuff like that, or could be converted to a smoke shop. Was enacted as New Jersey continues to raise its taxes on 2018, so it becomes more attractive to open one up. I forwarded to the solicitor, and since this legislation had several vacant properties in town, I thought it was that would either former send it off to the solicitor and have them converted. This wasn't a major rewrite. As New Jersey continues to raise its taxes, this was just simply a tweak to make it fit here and more attractive, and that's to open one up where we are right now. And since this legislation, anyone else stood the test of time,
add something to this?
I thought it was prudent to send it off to the solicitor and have them tweak it. This wasn't a major rewrite. This wasn't an invention of the wheel. This was just simply a tweak to make it fit here in Morrisville.
There's laws on the books that are probably 200 years old.
Where we are right now.
Of taking like taxable products like liquor, cigarettes, and whatnot across state lines. I know if we got like difficult probably have to be the state police or something to catch a lot of people, but it tells just to have a presence, just to like I know maybe that there's laws on the books that are probably 200 years old. Slow it down a little bit of taking because we're never taxable products like liquor, like cigarettes, and whatnot across state lines. New Jersey keep going up on cigarettes, we're going to come over here. Like if we got, they used to do things down at Roger Wilco, police or something, Burlington by the Bristol Bridge in town, and they used to follow people with Pennsylvania tags maybe as a deterrent bridge, and they used to get them for maybe slow it down a little bit, liquor without paying the tax over the state line. I mean, like you said, as long as the taxes, no secret, we were going to coming over. So I know they used to do things down at Roger Wilco, the liquor store in Burlington by the Bristol Bridge. And they used to follow people with Pennsylvania tags and our Bristol Bridge. And they used to get them for, that would have to be a state thing. Transporting, liquor without paying the tax over the state line.
Yeah, and I think there's limits on what you can, what trigger that.
To our smoke shops and buying the cigarettes. But, I mean, that would be, like,
want anything to that?
George and
nothing more. Yeah, it's just one of those, it's a tough thing to enforce. Generally, it's done by the state police when they do that. And, there are issues with it from a standpoint as it relates. Alcohol is a little bit different. I know where you're going, Mr. Robinson. Alcohol is a little bit different than cigarettes. So
want anything to that?
It's a little bit different of an issue. But I understand more. It's just one of those. It's a tough thing to enforce. Generally, it's done by the state police when they do that, and there are issues with it from a standpoint as it relates. Alcohol is a little bit different. I know where you're going, Mr. Robinson. Alcohol is a little bit different than
has finally conceded to some of the things that
it's a little bit different of an issue. But I understand your point.
Some years ago, we looked at this. And the best we could come up with at the time on the books.
I just want to say I'm very happy
you couldn't have two smoke shops in the same property. I also am happy that the state has finally the Stockton building decided to have one upstairs and downstairs. Most residents were looking for allowed. Some years ago, we looked at this. There was no problem with having it at the next to each other in the books. So I'm very happy, and I think couldn't have two smoke shops in the same property to everybody's point. So the ones that are here are here. Say the Stockton building decided to have one upstairs and downstairs. That wouldn't have been allowed.
I just have one more quick comment. I'm going to refrain from my motion that I was throwing out there now that I know where this came from, what the purpose of it is, and what the goal is.
To everybody's point,
something that everybody's been talking about for years.
And
I think the public has been asking for this of us, and we were.
I just have one more quick comment. I'm going to refrain from my motion that I was throwing out there now that I know where this came from, what the purpose of it is, and what the goal is.
To do this
something that everybody's been talking about for years.
Exactly. If we just all pull together, we can make the town a lot better.
We were lucky that. Any other discussion? Councilwoman Halaho found it first. Virginia, can we do a roll call? It's a team effort. I mean, we all need to.
Ms. Halaho.
To do this more than
Mr. Nichol?
ourselves.
Yeah. Exactly. If we just all pull together, we can make the town a lot better.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Any other discussion?
Mrs. Sherlock?
Yes.
Virginia, can we do a roll call on this?
Mr. Yeager?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Powers?
Yes.
Ms. Halaho?
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Mr. Nichol?
Unanimously.
Yes.
90, a call for a motion to approve.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Executing the resolution required for resubmitting the application
And Mr. Parker.
in the amount of $454,823 for the automated red light enforcement program grant through PennDOT. 90, a call for a motion to Pennsylvania Avenue and Philadelphia Avenue intersection, executing the resolution required to resubmitting the application $3,000 in the amount of $454,823 for the automated red light enforcement program grant.
My only discussion is I believe these next two we actually voted on last month to approve doing this. This is just to approve the actual resolution by the governing body.
To reapply $2,500 to $3,000. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion.
My only discussion is I believe these next two we actually voted on last month to approve doing this. This is just to approve the actual resolution by the governing body.
Yep. 90, a call for a motion to approve executing the resolution required for resubmitting the application in the amount of $200,000 for the automated red light enforcement program grant through PennDOT for upgrades to existing traffic signals with battery backups, generator motion passes. 90, a call for a motion to approve executing the resolution required for resubmitting the application in the amount of $200,000 for the automated red light enforcement program grant through PennDOT. Hearing none, all in favor? Upgrades to existing traffic signals with battery backups, generator plugs, motion passes. And preemptive application motion to appoint Judith Danko as open records officer and borough secretary effective her first day of employment. Second. Discussion.
Second.
We're all first.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Discussion. Abstentions. Motion passes. 9F, a call for a motion to appoint Judith Danko as open records officer and borough secretary effective her first day of employment.
So moved.
Second.
We're all first
Ms.
and
Danko.
Hello, everyone.
Discussion.
Hi.
Quick comment.
Yes, I'm perfectly fine with each of those
Don't recall offhand, did we discuss this with her? I know it's kind of assumed it comes with a position.
Thank you.
We should good point, probably make sure she was okay with it.
Thank
Any
you
other
very much for your
discussion?
consideration.
Ms. Danko.
Hello, everyone.
All right. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Yes, I'm
Motion
perfectly fine
passes.
with each of those items.
9G.
Awesome.
Motion for a municipal authority appointment. One appointment, any other discussion? The open position with an unexpired term of 42 months. Term expires January 4th, all in favor? 2025. Opposed? Can I have a nomination? Motion passes.
I'd like to nominate Rory Snare for this position,
9G.
please.
Motion for a municipal authority appointment. One appointment nomination to fill the open position with an unexpired term of 42 months. Term expires January 4th, 2025. Going to close that. Can I have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Rory Snare for this position, please.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? Nomination for Rory Snare. Any other nominations? Abstentions? Motion passes. Roy Snare is appointed to the municipal authority. We're going to close that. Moving on to 9H. We'll just call for a motion to censure Councilman Mike Yeager for violating the secrecy of executive session. Can I have a motion? Here, 2 opposed, abstentions. Motion passed. Second. Roy Snare is appointed to the municipal authority.
I'll second that for discussion.
Discussion on to 9H.
I'd like to discuss
Call
it.
for a motion to censure Councilman Mike Yeager for violating the
I saw
secrecy
the
of
emails go
executive
around
session.
in the crew, and I chose to ignore them because they were a little silly. But what specifically are we talking about here?
I'll second that for discussion.
My understanding is having an interview
I'd like to discuss it too.
Press, releasing the name
I'd like
of our manager.
To understand. I saw the emails go around in the crew,
who had been
and I chose to ignore them because
the
they
protections
were a
of
little
executive
silly. But
session.
what specifically are we talking about? So I received an email outside of the executive session
having an interview
expressing that she accepted the offer.
Releasing the name of our manager.
That was outside the executive session. I have it in my emails.
Who had been picked and
anything else that
decided
was brought
under
up?
the protections
I
of
don't think
executive
that was the contingent offer. I don't
So
think
I
that was
received
an
an
offer.
email outside. I have a congratulations session
The offer was
expressing that she accepted the offer.
I know,
in an
but
email outside an executive session. That was outside the executive session.
I
have it in
understand
my
that,
emails.
but she's still.
Anything else that was brought up?
I think this is the
contingent- I don't think that was the contingent offer. I don't think that was an offer.
I have
The problem,
a
think,
congratulations.
is that,
The offer
it
was
was
accepted
contingent
in an
upon
email
her
outside of executive
passing passing the background exam.
That's not what it says.
I understand that,
it
but
says,
she's
congratulations, she accepted the offer. I think this is.
I'm sorry, I have the floor.
Ms. Danko, by the way, I'm very excited to have you. I think you're going to be a great addition to this borough, and your success will be our success. I'm very excited to have you.
Passing the background exam.
That's not what it says. I'm going to actually, congratulations, she accepted let you guys do your thing, vote on it. I'm not so. Ms. Danko, by the way, I'm very excited to have you. Was there anything else that was allegedly something that was out of executive session? Your success will be our success. I'm very excited to have you.
Justin did the right thing by not confirming.
I'm going to actually. Was there anything other than the name that you guys are accusing me of taking out of executive session when I have an email that says congratulations? Other than the name, was there? It wasn't an executive session. That was
the entire process was under executive session. Executive session.
I mean, Justin did the right thing by not confirming.
I'm asking specifically, was there anything other than the name that you guys are accusing me of taking out of executive session when I have an email that says congratulations? I'm excited that we have somebody with experience that's going to come in. It wasn't an executive session. I have high hopes.
The entire process was under executive session. Executive session. The individual had not informed her employer yet until it was made public.
We had an email that said notified her employer yet. Ms. Danko's name, I'm just excited that we have somebody with experience that's going to come in and I have high hopes for this position. Admonishing me here for that's really all you're doing is what you're admonishing me for is taking something out of the secrecy of an executive session. This did not come out of an executive session. It was a separate email.
Personnel are always executive.
We could argue that.
It doesn't really matter if it's in an email or a verbal conversation.
There's an accepted agreement. Admonishing me here for really all you're doing.
Is what you're admonishing me for is
taking something out of the secrecy of an executive session.
And we hadn't even
made a
motion to personnel issues are always executive. It doesn't really matter if it's in an email or
at a council meeting that we had found somebody as and then days later, after the email came out, that congratulations.
And we hadn't even
outside of executive session.
We hadn't even made a motion to make the offer private. This article came out on a Sunday or a Monday, and then we had the meeting with the approval.
And then days later, after the email came out, that congratulations. It involves outside of executive session. But you guys do what you think.
I'm sorry, Mikey. This article came out on a Sunday or a Monday, and then we had the meeting.
What are the results of that?
What's the penalty?
That's not correct.
Yeah, we're admonishing one of our own for disclosing information outside of executive session that was received.
So it's an admonishment, and so the motion's here.
Saying bad boy.
So what are the results of that?
What's the penalty? Robert's rules, that's all you can do.
I'm getting an ethics, I guess, an ethics lesson from somebody who sends out emails to the entire group and breaks the sunshine.
It's an admonishment.
That's all it is.
Let's do this.
I'm sure if you were to ask Judy, I'm sure she wasn't very happy about the article coming out before she was able to speak to her employer.
I'm getting an ethics, I actually have faith that Ms. Danko is a strong, very well-suited individual that can handle much more strife than that. Fantastic. Let's do this.
Why did we have to give her any strife?
If you were to ask Judy, I'm sure she wasn't very happy about the article coming out before she was able to speak to her employer.
And I don't think that she should have to speak to
actually my only comment on this, strong, very well-suited individual that can handle much more strife than that.
It's a little confusing. We had an agreement in place.
Why did we have to give her any strife?
I understand what you're saying about protecting Ms. Danko's anonymity.
I do not want to put her on trial here right now, but I don't think that she should have to answer these questions.
My only comment on this, just than before, it's not to protect. I kind of agree with Mike where Ms. Danko, it's a little confusing. We had an agreement in place, so I don't see that argument per se. And personally, I what you're saying about protecting Ms. Danko's professional courtesy. To not give out Ms. Danko's name until I know that. Until I personally had known she'd given her. The borough it's not to protect. If I'd known Danko that she had, I would have provided it. So that's the only difference between my name in that article and Mike's. Personally, I answered the way I did. I didn't know if she had given notice, and if she had, then I would have said the same thing Mike did and gave the name out Ms. Danko's name until I personally had known she'd given her 30 days notice. If I'd known that she had, I would have provided it.
I have one more question.
That's the only difference between my name in that article and Mike's is I was asked and I didn't know if she had given notice, and if she had, then I
can I hear Scott's
said the same thing Mike did and gave the name.
Legal
at that point, I think, right, she had not, because
That would be protected by executive session.
Yeah, I have one more question. Is Scott there? Scott Holbert? What's that? The attorney?
There really is no legal opinion I can give on this motion. This is a council matter.
Opinion on this?
That would be protected by executive session.
Does what's that? Okay, then Scott, my question is,
I think really is no legal opinion I can give on this motion.
Moving forward, I think since some people have confusion as to what was part of a continued executive session, which was all the interviews and everything else, then from now on, we will absolutely make sure that there is a clear heading on it of any discussion about any personnel issue, any hiring, any firing, I think, or anything that some people have confusion as to what was continued. People are part of a continued when executive session ends, which was all the interviews and everything else. Then from now on, we will absolutely make sure that there is a clear heading on it, pieces of any discussion about any personnel issue, any hiring, any discussion, we're going to go to a vote. Or anything that has been discussed in executive session. Moving forward, if people are confused as to when executive session ends,
Yes.
we will make sure it's on all emails.
Mr. Paul.
And all physical pieces
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
With that, if there's no other further discussion, we're going to go to a vote. Virginia, roll call, please.
Yes.
Mr. Bowers? Mr. Yeager?
I abstain.
Ms. Lau?
Yes.
And Mr. Nichol?
Yes.
No.
Motion passes. Yes.
So silly.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
All right, moving on to 9I, which is a motion to approve the grievance settlement agreement with the borough, between the borough and the PBA. Can I have a motion?
And Mr. Parker?
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
Not much discussion we can have on this. It's just a nay or yay.
Quick question on that.
All right, moving on to
is there more we can tell the
9I,
public?
which is a motion to approve grievance settlement agreement with the borough, between the
be more
borough
specific about what
and
the
the
agreement
PBA.
is.
Can I have a
How about
motion?
just say grievance?
So moved.
Second agreement, maybe?
Not much discussion we can have on this. It's
Well,
just
what else
nay
we
or
can give
yay.
out is this was a grievance filed by a member of the police officer
Is
under
there
the
more we
CBA,
can tell
and
the
it's
public? I mean,
resulting
just
in a
a
$1,200
motion to
settlement.
approve an agreement. If there'd be more specific about what the agreement is.
How about just
Any
say
other
grievance?
discussion? It's a grievance.
A grievance agreement, maybe?
Yeah,
All in favor?
Aye.
What else we can give out is this was a grievance filed by a member of the
Abstentions?
police officer under the
Motion
CBA, and it's resulting in a
9J, a motion
$1,200
to
settlement.
approve.
Great. Thanks.
Any other discussion?
Oh. Was there a no on that,
All
or
in
was that just
favor?
an echo, just a delay?
I believe it was the delay. I believe that was Mr. Robinson on that last motion. Was your vote a yes?
9J, a motion to
Yes,
approve.
yes.
Yes, yeah, we were just checking. There was a little bit of a delay, and it came up a little, as Ted was saying, for the nay. So we believed it was delay. We just wanted to check.
Was there a no on that, or was that just an echo that took the delay?
I believe it was
9J, a
delay.
motion to approve
I believe that
an
was Mr.
independent
Robinson on
medical
that last motion.
examination
Was
for
your
an
vote a
injured police
yes?
officer. Can I have a motion, please?
Yes, it was a yes.
So moved.
Yes, yeah, we were just checking. There was a little bit of a
Motion
delay,
and a
and it
second.
came up a little,
I have
as
another
Ted was
comment
saying,
on
for
that.
the nay. So we believed it was delay. We just wanted to check. Thank you.
Given that there may be some cost to this, can we add something?
9J, a
cap
motion
costs,
to
or just
approve
put a
an
rough
independent
cost in there,
medical
or
examination
at least
for
acknowledge
an
that there will
injured
be
police
costs that the
officer.
borough
Can I have a
may
motion,
incur?
please?
We vote yes on this?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second.
Yes.
Or is my discussion good enough? Comment on that.
There could be costs. I mean, your discussion is good enough. We could put something in there.
Given that there may be
I
some
would
cost to
have a
this, can we
recommendation at
add
this
something?
time.
Cap costs, or
There would be a
rough
cost
in
as
there,
this
or
would be
at least
something paid
acknowledge
for
that
by
there will be
the borough,
costs that the borough may incur if we vote yes on
But
this?
is there also a cost, attorney costs?
We could, yes.
Or is my discussion good enough?
This is part of our general work. I mean, your discussion is good enough. We could put something in there outside of reviewing the documentation at this time.
Yes, there would be costs.
There would be costs.
Always costs.
There would be a cost. This would be something paid for by the borough. You wouldn't participate in it other than reviewing the documents that
But
were
is
sent.
there also a cost, attorney costs?
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
This
If
is part
this
of our
police officer is
general
covered
work. There
under
would
his
be
insurance,
extra
would none of that
costs
pick that up?
outside of reviewing the documentation.
Yes, there would be costs.
There would be costs.
Always costs.
Yeah, there's always costs, but
It's possible, but I can't say for sure.
You wouldn't participate in it other than reviewing the documents that were sent.
There could be issues, but there could be other issues as well. That's where the
Mr.
one's
Parker?
asking for it.
Right, we're asking.
Okay, if this police officer is covered under his insurance, would none of that pick that up?
All right.
Okay, workers, okay. The chief said regarding workers'
It's
comp. you can't
possible,
put
but
them
I
in
can't
Blue
say for
Cross.
sure, because if the
I
doctor
know
isn't
they can't hear you.
participating in that plan.
Okay.
And I don't think we would want it to fall under that anyway, because it's independent. We want
for it.
Right, we're asking for it.
somebody being paid by the borough for their opinion.
Right.
Do we know where his discussion
Okay, workers, okay.
of health
The chief said
lies right now?
regarding workers' comp, you can't put
Have
them
any
in Blue
update on
Cross.
his situation?
Because I know they can't hear you.
And I don't think we would want it to fall under that anyway, because it's independent. We
It's up or
want
down vote, whether to.
somebody being paid by the borough for their opinion.
That's executive, right, that's part of executive session, we can't discuss that here.
Do we
Any
know
other
where his
discussion?
current state of health
Okay.
lies right
Anybody
now?
else?
Do we have
All
any
right.
update on his
All in
situation?
favor? Aye. Opposed?
We should be talking about the.
Right,
It's up or down vote, whether to adopt.
Yeah, that's the end of the action
executive-
items, 10 other business, we can't discuss that here.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Parker, I have a couple things.
Anybody else? Under announcements? All right, under borough
All in
officials?
favor?
All right, so no other business, so moving on to 11 borough officials. Motion passes. Sherlock? It's the end of the action items.
Couple things. I will
10
try to
other
be
business.
brief.
Any other business?
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Parker, I have a couple things. See, I
Under
already mentioned
announcements?
about
Under
the
borough
possibility
officials?
of.
All right, so no other
fines
business,
for the
so
Republic.
moving on to 11 borough
Artists of
officials.
Marshall have
Sherlock?
had talks recently about
things.
doing
I
some
will try to be
murals in
brief.
town. It's not a new idea. It's just something I think that they're going to try to move forward with the possibility more vigorously than they have in the past. Fines for Republic. So I'm really just kind of making that announcement. But obviously, if it's on borough property somewhere, we would have about doing some murals in town. I also ran into Mr. Jones from the high school. It's just something I think that he was the gentleman where he was one of the teachers I was working with more vigorously than they have in the past. So I'm really just kind of making that announcement. But then the pandemic happened, and it never happened. Borough property somewhere. He said he's hoping that next year. I also ran into Mr. Jones from the high school because he was the gentleman I was. He was one of the teachers I was working with regards to Directive 225 regarding impoundment. We've had that in our possession now. But then the pandemic happened in a few months. It never happened. And so I have asked the questions and they've been answered. And I'd like to see if we could just put that on the agenda for next month.
We'll add it.
Passed in the past. So also I had mentioned the Directive 225 regarding impoundment. We've had that in our possession now. Is there? This is for the solicitor. And is there anything that can be done about? And I'd like to see if we could just put that properties agenda for next month. Truly obscene in the past. We can get moving on that. Signs or things of that nature on their yard. This is for the solicitor. Is there anything that can be done about
it's
private
going to be 99,999 times out of 100,000 protected by the First Amendment.
Signs or
to find that, less than 1% chance of the time that it's not, it's very difficult. I mean,
simple answer is no.
It's going to be outside of direct threats, signs on your own property 99 times out of 100,000 you're covered, and even then direct threats to find that can be covered as well, depending on 1% chance of the time it's not. It's very difficult. I mean, outside of where it is, location, anything like that doesn't change things. No. Outside of direct threats, signs on your own property. No, I understand.
I know it's
probably you're covered, and even then direct threats.
Thought I'd ask.
Theoretically,
yes, no, it's a fair question,
depending on how the right thing
does it work anywhere near and then
no,
again, it's only a couple weeks away.
Location, anything like that doesn't
the household
change
hazardous
things, no.
waste collection been approached about it. We announce this every month. I know it's August 14th, and it's at the Bucks County Tech High School.
No, it's a fair question, and
I think you can find more information on our website regarding that. Again, it's only a couple weeks away. The household hazardous
Also, there were two
announcements that we received from the PSAB, and one is about the Sunshine Act, and it's the requirements have changed a bit. Now we actually almost cover all the requirements for our website that they mentioned. It's Act 65. But one that is in there that I don't believe we do is actually put a copy of the agenda posted outside on our kiosk. The requirements have changed a bit. Now on our website, I think it would almost cover all the requirements. That should cover it, but it lists that as something separate from the website. So I don't know if that's something we have to do or not. But one that is in there that I don't believe we do The second one is called, it's House Bill 1621, and I think we might have to move on this one unless you even know, I don't know. It's regarding the expansion of the 5G, I think, technology, and it establishes standards for deploying small cell infrastructure. I don't know if that's something preserving local authority over the rights of way. And they said if you don't get in, the second one is called, it's House Bill 1621, and I think we might have to move on this one unless you even know, I don't know. It's regarding the expansion of the 5G technology.
I'll start with your first one. About the agenda. We have copies of the agenda here. That's really what it's covers. Yes, that's what it's
authority over the rights of way. Okay, because it does mention that too. It mentions you don't get in there quick enough at the meeting. You don't do something sooner than later. It also mentioned all four, but that's all right. Harmful for us. Think we're covered. We're covered. Is that something you're familiar with?
And as for the cell tower issue, with your first issue everywhere. Yeah, we have copies of the agenda that's been going on. That's really what it's.
That's covered.
Yes, that's what. That's at least 3 years.
Okay, because it does mention that too. It mentions
it's probably been longer, but there have been changes proposed, and the idea is.
But that's all right. If you think we're covered, we're covered.
They tell you if you don't do something now, you're not going to be able to do an issue everywhere. You can take a look at it, but that's the way these laws are being written and the way they're changing it. I want to say at least whether you do something now that's something now, it's not going to make a difference. They're probably been longer, but there have been laws changed. They're going to do the idea is supersede items. So. Outside of the way these laws have been going, and the issues that people have been having later, I think Doylestown Borough is the best example I can give from the way these laws are being written and the way what they've done is whether you do something now, it's not going to make a difference. When people approach you, when Verizon, AT&T, what's the other big one? Outside of the way these laws have been going and the issues that people have been having, they have a different company. Doylestown Borough is the best example I can give from Bucks County recently, and what they've done. When they come to you to look to install things, the idea would be to work with them. When people approach you, when what we've seen from the way these laws are turning and how municipalities are interacted, if you work with them, you can get what you want out of it. If you resist, they have a different company that's they find a way around it. Crown Castle. Best way.
So let's not waste any money on
when they come to you to look to install things, the idea would be to work with them. Generally these things, the way they write these laws are turning and how the laws is to supersede all of how municipalities have interacted. If you work with them, you can get what you want out of it. If you resist, regular general, they find a way around it. Is the best way.
So let's not waste any money on any. This was talked about at the last meeting. Protection. Can we? And I think it should be very simple to me. I think it would only be a paragraph.
Change the laws is to supersede all of those
amend our animal ordinance
other land development
to
use
exclude roosters.
Regular general code ordinances.
And now I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but I know that I think this was talked about at the last. A number of us have had calls about it. And I think it should be very simple to me. I think it would only be a paragraph. Chickens were mentioned. I mean, I don't really have a problem with chickens, but if you have 12 chickens, animal ordinance, that might be a bit of a problem too. But can we restrict the number of chickens? But I definitely think we should be restricting. I don't know how the council feels, but I know that I think probably maybe a number of us have had.
There's other animals that are restricted, just like you can restrict other things. You can
also chickens were mentioned. I mean, I don't really have a problem with chickens, but if you have 12 chickens, that might be a bit of a problem. But can we restrict the number of chickens? But I definitely think we should be restricting roosters. Just to have him look our animal ordinance over.
There's other animals that are restricted, just like you can restrict other things. You can restrict, ownership of specific types of animals.
67 or something like that.
I mean, I agree. As Ted was saying, we get lots of complaints from our neighbors. And I think it's something that we all are interested in.
Just to have him
maybe Scott can take a crack at it. Circulate something that we can then.
I don't remember now.
But roosters seem to be one of the big problems, and also
67 or something
numbers of chickens. I agree, and as Ted was saying, we get lots of complaints from our neighbors that and I think it's something that we all are interested in. So it's more than just Scott can take a crack at it. Anything that's really circulates something that we can then
a nuisance
for roosters be one of the big problems. Also, excessive numbers of chickens, or and depending upon how much.
One of the things in our ordinance currently is that the coops have to be 25 feet, I think, from a property line.
It's more than just
some of these homes are very small,
just becomes
and I don't believe that code has really enforced that part of our ordinance.
Or characterized.
Because one of the things you're talking our ordinance currently is that yes, the coops have to be 25 feet. You're talking about 50 feet just side to side. Some of these homes are very small.
Most homes are just 50 feet wide.
I don't believe that code has really enforced
maybe we need to revisit that too, because if you're not going to allow roosters and chickens aren't allowed, and they're not
You're
bothering
talking
the
fixed-
neighbors. I mean,
right on the property.
probably 20 years ago when they wrote this, it wasn't popular to have backyard chickens and have your own eggs, and that's kind of come full spin
and
again.
most homes are just 50 feet
So we may
wide.
want to revisit
I
this
might
as
be
well.
wrong
But
on
I would
that.
also suggest to revisit that too, because the attorney first, you're not going to allow roosters and chickens are allowed. Policy
And
not bothering to review. I mean, those meetings, probably 20 years ago when they wrote this, it wasn't popular to have backyard chickens and have your own eggs. Council could show up if they want to give input again because it's an advertised meeting. So we may want to revisit those as well.
But we already
But I would
have one
also
on the
suggest
books.
rather
It's just
than
a
sending it
matter
to the
of
attorney
putting
first,
roosters
that
in
it
with
gets
the
sent to
undesirables.
the policy and
Well,
ordinance
it's also
committee to
enforcing
review
the current
those
ordinance,
meetings.
which
You know,
isn't
once they
being
put a meeting out
enforced,
there,
which is
it's
the
for
where
the
the
public
coops are in
and
people's yards.
all of council
But
could show up
to
if they
that
want to give
point,
input
the
because it's
25
an
feet,
advertised
I
meeting.
think is kind of, I think
we
it's-
already have one on the books.
If we keep it at
It's
25
matter of
feet, we're
putting
basically
roosters in.
saying with the undesirables, 70% of Morrisville
Well,
cannot
it's
have
also
chickens because
enforcing the current ordinance,
there's just
which
no.
isn't being enforced,
And
which
so
is
not really.
where the coops are in people's yards.
I don't know if I'm, to that point, I don't know if I want to go that direction. I think it's kind of, I think
There's
it's.
an ordinance currently
If
that
we
is
keep it at
not
20
being followed.
feet, we're basically saying. I agree about the ordinance committee because that was
Morrisville
my
cannot
last
have
thing that I was going to
chickens
mention about having, I'd like to have
just
an
no-
ordinance meeting if
and
we
so
could.
not be it.
And there was a couple ordinances I wanted to address.
I don't know if I'm,
but
I don't know if I'm.
I don't know if I want to go that direction. We can address it, but I think we just both hit
There's an
the nail
ordinance
on the head
currently that
here
is
about
not being
roosters.
followed.
I'm fine if you want to
I
engage
agree
the
about the
attorney
ordinance
just to throw
committee
in
because that
roosters,
was
but then you
my
also
last
threw in
thing
the
I
other
was
thing
going to
about the
mention.
number of
About
chickens. I
having,
think
I'd like to have an
that needs a
ordinance
discussion
meeting
and to
if we
figure
could.
out, you know,
And there was a
is the
couple
number
ordinances
based
I
on
wanted
square
to
footage of a
address.
pen area or is it square footage of a
But
yard, you know?
we can address it, but I
Seems
think
like a
we just
discussion
both
for people
hit
to
the
have,
nail on the
especially to
head
bring
right
people
here
who have
about
chickens
roosters.
in. I'm fine if you want to engage the attorney just to throw roosters, but then you also threw in the other thing about the number. They make a mess. I think that, you know, needs a discussion and to figure out, I hate them, whatever. Is the number based on square footage of a pen area or is it square footage of a yard? I can tell you there's going to be a number of people that discussion when they hear about chickens, especially to bring people who have they love chickens. And maybe their neighbors.
Get rid of
So they can
chickens.
either say yes, I support it, or, you know, no, they make a mess.
No, I'm all for chicken coops too.
I hate them, whatever.
Just don't know
Yeah.
about the numbers. I mentioned the numbers, but I'm
Because
not
I can tell you there's going to be
opposed
a number
to
of
it.
people
I'm
that
not
come in when they hear
married
about
to
chickens
6
because they have
versus
chickens, they
12
love
or
chickens.
whatever. I am married to getting rid of chickens. I love chickens. I just, that is, no, I'm all for chicken coops too. I just,
I forgot to bring
don't
up
know
earlier.
about the numbers.
Dave
I
Nay's,
mentioned the numbers, but I'm not
neighbors had
opposed to it. I'm not
gotten together
married
and,
to 6 versus 12 or whatever.
Pulled
I
money
am
together
married to
to put
getting
up
rid
a
of
sign
chicken, I
at
mean
the
roosters.
bridge that he had helped
That is-
rebuild. That he had organized and there was something helped that rebuild. I forgot to bring up.
Scott seems to think we
earlier.
need a motion.
We should have a motion to put
Nay's,
the plaque to neighbors
address
had
putting a plaque there.
gotten together and
Is anybody opposed to opening it up to public
pulled money
comment real
together
fast
to put up a
so that-
sign.
I think we
at the
should, because
bridge
I have a
that he
couple
had helped
comments.
I'm not
rebuild.
opposed to it, but are you
That
sure
he had
it's
organized
DCNR
and
property?
helped
It's our
rebuild.
property.
Exactly.
Scott seems
our
to think
bridge.
we need a motion. We should have a
On our
motion
bridge,
to put
it's
a
ours.
plaque to address putting a
Where is
plaque
it going?
there.
On the bridge?
Is
It has to
anybody
be on the
opposed to
bridge
opening it up to
or right
public comment
next
real
to it? I
fast?
don't-
so that-
I think we should,
I mean,
because
what
I have a
is
couple
it that
comments.
they're putting
I'm not
up?
opposed to it, but are you sure it's
honoring him
DCNR
and
property? It's our property.
I haven't seen, actually seen the
Exactly.
physical. Have you
It's our
seen the
bridge.
physical plaque? It's our
No.
bridge.
Okay.
On our bridge, it's ours.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where on the bridge it would go. Where is it going? On the
Originally
bridge?
was.
If it has to be on the bridge or
Open it up
right
and then
next to it,
discuss
I
or.
don't know. Well, I just want to know if we should
Okay,
bring it. I mean,
what is it that
I
they're
think at
putting
this
up?
point, the best thing, I mean, I'm honoring him and they wanted to get it up, but we may just have to wait till August.
I
I
know
haven't
that
seen,
one of
actually seen the physical. Have you seen the physical
Persons that
plaque?
was working this
No.
is
Yeah, I'm just
Josh.
wondering where on the bridge it would go.
Well, originally was a different Josh. And he had another conversation
No, I just want to know if we
with the
should
park
bring it. I
ranger.
mean, I think at this
Originally,
point, the
we
best
had a
thing, I mean,
conversation
I
with the
know
park ranger.
they wanted to get it up, but
and
we may
with
just have to wait till
Susan Taylor.
August.
I know that one of the Friends of the Delaware persons that was working, and it was determined that they don't allow anything on actually on the property. Like it can't be on. He had another conversation with the park ranger bridge because originally we had a conversation with the park ranger and with put it on Susan Taylor from the there was Friends of Delaware. The park ranger was going to go get some sort of variance. They don't allow anything exception to be able to put it where we want to put it, and that's where it is right now. So I don't really know. Right, so they could be on the bridge.
right.
And
we
it's not been purchased yet.
Okay, I thought it was purchased, sorry. I thought it had already, I thought it
Put it on
already.
the bridge.
All right, so then we'll wait for August then.
The park ranger was going to go get some sort of variance
a problem with
or
it. I just don't know.
exception to be able to put it where we want to put it. Okay, and that's where it is right now, so I don't really know.
When I walk,
It's not been purchased yet.
take a look to see. I don't know how big it is, but to see a possibility of work.
I know it's actual footprint of the bridge. goes into the
I don't have
canal path.
a problem with it. I just don't know where
Yeah,
to go.
If it's
Maybe in the center. Well, if they haven't purchased it, maybe they can like make one of those like I walk over that bridge. I could take a look in the center of the bridge. I don't know how big it is, but to see the possibility of
I don't know what they're doing. They're working on
I don't know what their idea is.
put it actually the canal
We were told originally not to put it on the bridge, to put it on a pole.
maybe in the center. Well, if they haven't purchased it, maybe they could like make one of those like
when they have
bench
more information, they can
packs,
come.
and we could put it in the center of the bridge.
So we can have it, I don't know
what they're doing, but they're working on.
Yes, we'll have to. Yeah, I don't know what their idea is.
Put it actually. I think there was some other things the chief wanted us to look at too.
To put it on a pole.
Some other
near the bridge.
changes. So we'll leave that for August. August, we weren't talking that they had more information. They can come. There was some other things other than 205.
Policy direction.
That you wanted us to consider? Yes, we'll have to call an ordinance meeting. I think there was some other things the chief wanted us to look at. Well, if you want to work on some more, and we'll get them to the policy committee and then get them up for a vote. Don't get scared. We weren't talking that bad about anyone else. There was some other things other than 205.
Policy direction.
Park will be hosting a dog pool party at the dog park from 1 to 4. We have a giant inflatable sprinkler that's shaped like a fire hydrant.
Well, if you want to work on some more, and we'll get them to the policy committee and then get them up for a vote.
Baby pools filled with water for the dogs.
Anyone else?
And they two things real quick. Number one, on Saturday, Friends of the Morsel Dog Park will be hosting a dog food party at the dog park from 1 to 4.
No human food.
We have a giant inflatable sprinkler that's shaped like a fire hydrant to circle back 4 or 5 feet high. Fireworks issue. And we have a number of small baby pools filled with water for the dogs. A couple weeks ago, and somebody had mentioned Doylestown Township has an ordinance food truck. And I had kind of sent it to him just to ask him to write it, but just to take a read through it and see if it actually had any. And another thing, I hadn't heard back from him. I don't know if he's reviewed it. The fireworks going to bring it up this point. I can either forward dog council to review, or we can ask Scott to go. Somebody had mentioned Doylestown Township give us an opinion as to whether it's something you think would at least just to give us more to write it, but just to take a read through it and see if it actually had any.
We reviewed it. I'm sorry to get back to it.
I don't know if he's
when we were on the meeting last time, I thought it came up with Randy.
Dog council
That's my problem.
Where we can ask Scott to just take a look at it.
To say whether, I mean, I would send
give us an
around
opinion as to whether it's
review. To say
something you think would at least give us more teeth.
Really couldn't come from us. That would be something more for. We reviewed it. To really talk about the enforcement. I mean, when we were on the meeting last time, I thought it came up with Randy. The ones that exist and anything is my problem. It's a real problem. Sorry. As he can tell you, because I mean, I would send it around everyone. The second review to say they get there, people dispersed, or they're not shooting them off. So unless that would be something more for video, to really talk about the enforcement. I mean, enforcing these fireworks, especially when you get to the borough ordinances where it's summary violations, because it's a real problem. You know, people complain. As you can tell you, they're not really watching. They're hearing it up in the sky. It might be a neighbor, two doors down. They don't know who's actually setting it off, shooting them off. So it does become an enforcement thing. But it is something you can look at. Tough to enforce. Look to do that if you are able to properly enforce it. The borough ordinances where it's summary violations because have an effect. We're seeing, the enforcement actions. Watching, they're hearing it up in the sky. It might be a neighbor. The enforcement actions we've been taking. Who's actually setting it off. The hookah lounge. So it does become an enforcement thing, but it is something you can look at. If you are able to get it to be enforced, if you are able to properly enforce it, it could bear dividends. Yes, it's have an effect. We're seeing it's one of those things that's extremely difficult to enforce.
Maybe I should clarify by having teeth. I understand the enforcement issue. I also was worried about the legal aspect. And we do that because some municipalities just put something out.
If you are able to get
something out there that if somebody challenges it, it's not going to hold up, but it looks good on their part to put it out there.
The law specifically written in the state law.
Maybe I should clarify by having teeth. I understand the enforcement issue. I also was worried about the legal aspect. And so we do that because some municipalities just put something out just to have something out there that's, if somebody challenges it, it's not going to hold up, but it looks good on their part to put it out there.
No, the law is specifically written in the state law that, local regulations can still be written and can still be put into place.
No one has anything else? We're going to put 12 adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I'll forward it to everybody then.
Justin, what time's the pool party?
1 to 4.
Meeting's adjourned. No one has anything else? We're going to 12 adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion.
Okay, looks like we're adjourned. So I'm going to stop the streaming and recording.
Have a good evening.